You are listening to Moonfire's Midnight Hunt, a Cinderella shifter retelling, complete audiobook written by D.N. Leo, narrated by Jessica Lee. What if Cinderella was a wolf shifter, the ball was a midnight hunt, and Prince Charming could smell her true identity? She's been a servant for 20 years, hidden beneath silver chains and her stepmother's lies. He's the alpha who changes centuries of tradition just to find her. When the moon rises full, every unmated wolf gets one chance to run, but at midnight her true nature will either set her free or destroy them both. Before we dive into Harper's story, if you love paranormal romance, shifter stories, or fairy tale retellings, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support helps me bring you more full-length audiobooks completely free. And if you enjoy today's story, that like button really helps other romance readers find us. Now grab your coffee. Careful not to spill it on any billionaire alphas. And let's meet Harper Lee, a servant who's about to discover that some fairy godmothers come with witch powers, some princes come with claws, and midnight? Well, midnight changes everything. Chapter 1. Board Meeting Hell. The tiny mouse in Harper's apron pocket chose the worst possible moment to start humming. "Shh, Pip," Harper whispered, balancing the silver coffee service on one hand while her other pressed against the wiggling lump. The executive boardroom's mahogany doors loomed ahead, and through the frosted glass, she could already see the shadows of Ashford Industries' power players. The mouse squeaked indignantly, and in Harper's mind, his voice rang clear as tiny bells. "But I'm bored. You promised crumpets after the morning service." Harper had stopped questioning why she could understand Pip years ago. Other people heard squeaks. She heard complaints, jokes, and far too many opinions for something that weighed less than her coffee-stained name tag. Their strange connection was just another oddity in her disaster of a life, though admittedly, her favorite one. After. Harper gritted her teeth as the silver tray's handles burned against her palms. 20 years of wearing Victoria's protective jewelry, and she still wasn't used to the constant ache. And stop your humming. If another wolf hears that frequency, nobody listens to mice. Pip poked his pink nose out of her pocket. "Ooh, is that him? The scary alpha everyone's panicking about?" Harper's stomach clenched. Through the glass, Gabriel Ashford's silhouette commanded the far end of the conference table. Even distorted by frosted glass, his presence made her wolf whimper and press against the inside of her skin. "Back in the pocket," she hissed. Pip squeaked something that definitely translated to "make me," but dove deep as Harper shouldered open the door. The scent hit her like a physical blow, pine smoke and winter storms, underlaid with something darker that made her wolf sit up and take notice. "Mine," the beast whispered, and Harper nearly dropped the coffee service. Quarterly projections show a 15% increase in territorial acquisitions. Gabriel Ashford's voice was pure British aristocracy, wrapped in velvet threat. He didn't look up from the tablet in his hand. However, the Riverside Pack continues to resist our expansion proposals. Harper forced her feet forward, muscle memory guiding her around the table. "Pour for Mr. Davidson first, black, no sugar. Then Ms. Martinez, cream, 2 sugars. Don't look at him. Don't breathe too deep. Don't—" "Perhaps if we offered more aggressive terms?" Davidson suggested, accepting his coffee without acknowledging Harper's existence. "Aggressive?" Gabriel's laugh was soft, dangerous. "Robert, we're not corporate raiders. We're—" The universe chose that moment to send everything to hell. Harper reached for the sugar bowl just as Pip decided to investigate the coffee pot's steam. He scrambled up her arm, tiny claws pricking through her uniform. Harper jerked, the coffee pot tilted, and a stream of scalding liquid cascaded directly onto Gabriel Ashford's hand. "Bloody hell!" He jerked back, but not before their hands collided. Lightning, pure electric lightning, shot up Harper's arm where their skin touched. His eyes, storm gray with gold flecks, snapped to hers, widening with something that looked like recognition. "Mate!" her wolf howled. "Shut up!" Harper screamed back internally. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Ashford." She grabbed napkins, babbling apologies while trying not to breathe. "Let me—" "Don't." His hand caught her wrist. The touch sent another jolt through her system, and she heard his sharp intake of breath. "You're— Harper!" Victoria Lee's voice cracked like a whip from the doorway. Harper's stepmother stood in her severe black suit, lips pressed into a line that promised retribution. "What have you done now?" "She's scalded Mr. Ashford." Sia appeared behind their mother, perfectly polished in designer wear. Her smile was all concern, but her eyes glittered with malice. "Really, Harper, must you embarrass us at every opportunity?" Harper tried to pull away, but Gabriel's grip held firm. His thumb pressed against her pulse point, and she knew he could feel her heart racing. "It was an accident," he said quietly, still staring at Harper like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "Of course it was." Victoria's heels clicked against marble as she approached. "Harper's always been clumsy. It comes from inferior breeding." "Enough." "Ching." The alpha command in Gabriel's voice made everyone in the room freeze. Even Pip went completely still in Harper's pocket. "Accidents happen. No harm done." He released Harper's wrist slowly, reluctantly. The absence of his touch left her cold. "Clean this up," Victoria snapped at Harper. "Then report to my office. We need to discuss your future employment." She turned to Gabriel with a simpering smile. "I do apologize, Mr. Ashford. Good help is so hard to find these days. Perhaps my Sia could assist with your coffee? She's just finished her MBA at Oxford." "That won't be necessary." Gabriel's eyes never left Harper's face. "Ms. Lee," Harper whispered. "Ms. Lee was doing her job admirably until the accident." He stood slowly, power rippling through every movement. "In fact, I'd like her assigned to the executive floor permanently. My assistant's been complaining about the service up there." Victoria's face went through several interesting color changes. "But Harper's needed in the general kitchen. I'm sure you can spare one server." His smile was all teeth. "Can't you?" Of course." Victoria's fingers dug into Sia's arm. "Harper, gather your things. You'll report to the 40th floor tomorrow morning." Harper nodded, not trusting her voice. She bent to collect the scattered napkins, hyper-aware of Gabriel's gaze tracking her movements. "Oh, and Victoria?" Gabriel's voice stopped her stepmother at the door. "The next board meeting is in 3 days. I'll expect to see the pack allocation reports we discussed. All of them." Victoria's spine stiffened. "Of course, Mr. Ashford." The door clicked shut behind them, leaving Harper alone with Gabriel and a room full of executives pretending they weren't watching. "You can go," he said softly. Harper straightened, clutching the coffee-soaked napkins. This close, his scent was overwhelming. Her wolf was practically doing backflips. "Thank you," she managed, "for not firing me." "Why would I fire you?" He stepped closer, and Harper's back hit the wall. "Tell me something, Ms. Lee. Do you always smell like moonflowers?" Her breath caught. Nobody had ever. "Harper Lee, Corridor 7, now!" The intercom barked with Victoria's voice. Gabriel stepped back, but his eyes held promises that made her shiver. "Tomorrow morning, 7 sharp. Don't be late." Harper fled, Pip bouncing in her pocket with each step. She made it to the service elevator before her legs gave out. Pip's excited squeaking filled the elevator, and his voice danced through her mind. "That was amazing. Did you see his face when you touched?" He looked like someone hit him with a cricket bat, and his scent— "Ooh, he smells like Christmas and danger and— Pip, please." Harper sagged against the elevator wall. At least she had one friend in this mess, even if he was a mysterious talking mouse who lived in her pocket. "What just happened?" "You found your mate, silly." The mouse's whiskers twitched with excitement. "The why you ran away is beyond me. If I had a mate who looked like that— He's Gabriel Ashford." The elevator dinged at the service floor. "He owns half the territory. He's so far out of my league, we're not even playing the same sport. But he wants you on his floor." Pip did a little dance that tickled through the fabric. "Private access, daily interaction, coffee with sexual tension. Victoria's going to kill me." Harper stumbled out of the elevator. "Literally, actually kill me." "Nah." Pip's tiny paw patted her cheek when she glanced down. She needs you alive for things. Harper froze. What things? But Pip had already disappeared deep into her pocket, humming that strange frequency again and pretending he hadn't just said something ominous. She'd learned over the years that when Pip went cryptic, no amount of bribery, not even fresh crumpets, would make him elaborate. The walk to Victoria's office felt like a march to the gallows. Through the kitchen windows, Harper caught a glimpse of the full moon rising early in the darkening sky. In 3 days, the midnight hunt would begin, and Harper had just spilled coffee on the alpha everyone expected to claim a mate. Chet, Chapter 2. Harper's alarm shrieked at 4:47 a.m., but she was already awake, staring at the water stain on her ceiling that looked like a wolf mid-leap. Pip snored softly on the pillow beside her, tiny paws twitching as he dreamed whatever moon sprites dreamed about. 3 days, she whispered to the stain. 3 days until the midnight hunt. 3 days of serving coffee to Gabriel Ashford on the executive floor. 3 days of pretending her wolf wasn't screaming mate every time she thought about storm gray eyes. The silver bangles on her wrists pulsed with dull heat, her morning reminder that she wasn't like other wolves. Harper traced the intricate engravings, a habit born from 20 years of wearing Victoria's gifts. "They're for protection," Victoria had said when she'd clasped them on 15-year-old Harper the night after the funeral. "Your parents would want you safe." Harper swung her legs out of bed, bare feet hitting cold concrete. The servants' quarters in the Lee compound were technically part of the pack house, but they might as well have been in another country. No heated floors here. No wolf-friendly amenities. Just 4 concrete walls and a bathroom she shared with the human staff. "Morning, sunshine," Pip yawned, stretching like a tiny cat. His voice tinkled through her mind, bright despite the early hour. "Sleep well? Dream of any brooding British alphas?" "Shut up!" Harper padded to the bathroom, turned the tap. Rust-colored water sputtered out before running clear. "And stay out of my dreams. I don't need to be in them to know." Pip perched on the sink's edge. "You talk in your sleep." "Oh, Gabriel. Touch me again, Gabriel." Very scandalous. Harper flicked water at him. He squeaked indignantly and dove into her robe pocket. The mirror showed what it always did. Average height, curves that her uniform did nothing for, and eyes that couldn't decide if they were brown or gold. Wolf eyes, her mother had called them before. "You're pretty," Pip mumbled from the pocket. "In a I could kill you, but I make excellent coffee sort of way. That's not a compliment. It is to wolves." Harper's morning routine ran like clockwork. Shower with the silver jewelry on. Victoria had welded the clasps shut years ago. Regulation servant's uniform, hair in a bun tight enough to give her a headache. No makeup. Victoria said it made her look like she was trying too hard. She padded through the compound's kitchen, grabbing an apple from the servant's basket. The main kitchen sprawled beyond the swinging doors, all professional-grade appliances and imported marble. That was Sia's domain, where she played at being a chef between shopping trips and MBA classes. "Harper." The voice froze her mid-bite. Victoria stood by the coffee station, already dressed in Armani despite the early hour. Her stepmother never slept, as far as Harper could tell, just existed in a constant state of terrifying readiness. "Ma'am." Harper swallowed the apple chunk. It went down like concrete. "Your behavior yesterday was unacceptable, seeing." Victoria's fingers drummed against the marble counter. Each tap echoed like a nail in Harper's coffin. "Spilling coffee on Gabriel Ashford? Drawing his attention? What were you thinking?" "I wasn't." "No, you weren't." Victoria stepped closer, and Harper caught her scent. Bitter herbs and something chemical that made her wolf whine. "You're lucky Mr. Ashford has a soft spot for strays. But luck runs out, Harper. Remember that." Harper's wolf stirred, pressing against her skin. For one wild moment, she imagined shifting. Right here, showing Victoria exactly what kind of stray she'd taken in. Except she couldn't. "Try to shift," Victoria said, as if reading her mind. Her smile was sharp as winter. "Go ahead, show me your wolf." Harper's muscles strained. Her wolf clawed internally, desperate to emerge. The silver bangles flared hot, and pain shot up her arms like lightning in reverse. She gasped, doubling over. Pathetic. Victoria smoothed her perfect chignon. Can barely hold a partial shift for 30 seconds. What kind of wolf are you? The broken kind, Harper thought. Ma'am, if I'm to be on the executive floor by 7? Yes, run along. Victoria waved dismissively. And Harper? Mr. Ashford is announcing his intentions for the midnight hunt today. Every eligible female will be throwing themselves at him. Don't embarrass our family by getting ideas. Yes, ma'am. Harper fled through the service entrance, Pip silent in her pocket. The early morning air bit at her cheeks as she jogged toward the business district. Most wolves would shift and run. Harper took the subway like the humans. The platform was nearly empty. A few early commuters huddled in their coats, scrolling through phones. None of them glanced twice at the servant girl in the ugly uniform. She's wrong, you know, Pip said softly as the train pulled up, about you being pathetic. Is she? Harper found a corner seat, watched the city blur past. I can't shift properly, can't fight, can't even touch silver without wanting to scream. What kind of wolf does that make me? The kind who can hear moon sprites. Pip crawled up to her shoulder, nuzzling her ear. That has to count for something. Yeah, it makes me extra weird. Ashford Industries Tower pierced the morning sky like a glass and steel middle finger to gravity. 47 floors of corporate dominance, with the top 5 reserved for the alpha's personal use. Harper had never been above the 10th floor until today. Her service keycard had been updated overnight. The elevator recognized it with a soft chime, and suddenly she was shooting skyward, her stomach dropping to her shoes. Fancy, Pip whistled. Actually whistled, which was disturbing from a mouse. Look at that view. The elevator was glass-backed, showing the city shrinking below. Harper's wolf whimpered. Heights were not their friend. Floor 40. The doors opened to reveal luxury that made the regular offices look like hovels. Thick carpet that her sensible shoes sank into. Original artwork that probably cost more than Harper would make in a lifetime. And scents. Wolf, power, him. You must be Harper. A woman materialized from a side office, tall and elegant with silver-streaked hair pulled into a French twist. Her scent said wolf, but old bloodline. Strong. I'm Mrs. Winters, Mr. Ashford's executive assistant. Her smile was warm but assessing. He mentioned you'd be handling the refreshment service for this floor. Yes, ma'am. None of that, just Evelyn is fine. She gestured for Harper to follow. The executive floor's kitchen was a far cry from the servants' pantry. Everything gleamed. Copper espresso machine, crystal decanters, a refrigerator stocked with things Harper couldn't even name. Mr. Ashford takes his coffee black, no sugar, precisely 93 degrees Celsius. Evelyn's eyes twinkled. He can tell if it's even a degree off. Enhanced senses are both a blessing and a curse in the coffee department. 93 degrees. Got it. He has a meeting at 8, conference call at 9:30, and Evelyn paused, studying Harper with those two knowing eyes. You're the one who spilled coffee on him yesterday. Harper's cheeks burned. Yes. Evelyn's smile widened. He's been in a very interesting mood since then. Haven't seen him this. Focused in years. Before Harper could ask what that meant, a door opened down the hall. The scent hit her first. Pine smoke and winter storms, stronger now, undiluted by distance or glass. Gabriel Ashford strode into view, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid-fire French. He wore a charcoal suit that looked painted on, no tie, top button undone. His hair was slightly mussed, as if he'd been running his hands through it. He glanced up, saw Harper, and stopped mid-sentence. For 3 heartbeats, they just stared. Harper's wolf threw itself against her mental barriers, howling to get closer. The silver bangles burned hotter, fighting to contain something that didn't want to be contained. Je vous rappellerai, he said into the phone, then hung up without waiting for a response. Mr. Ashford? Evelyn's voice held amusement. "I was just showing Ms. Lee the coffee setup. Harper. The way he said her name should be illegal. All British vowels and dark promise. You're early." "You said 7 sharp." Harper's voice came out steadier than she felt. "I aim to please." Something flashed in his eyes. Heat, hunger, gone before she could name it. "Do you?" He moved closer, and Harper's back hit the counter. "Tell me, Harper, will you be attending the midnight hunt?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Harper felt Pip go very still in her pocket. Servants don't usually." "That wasn't what I asked." Another step. He was close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his gray eyes, count the subtle scars on his hands that spoke of pack challenges won. "Will you run?" "Say no," her rational mind screamed. "Remember Victoria's warning." "Say yes," her wolf begged. "He's ours." Mr. Ashford?" Evelyn's voice cut through smoothly. "The board members will be arriving soon." Gabriel stepped back, but his eyes never left Harper's face. "Make the coffee 94 degrees this morning." "But you said—" "I changed my mind." His smile was pure predator. "I find my tastes are evolving." He turned and strode toward his office, leaving Harper clutching the counter and trying to remember how to breathe. "Well," Evelyn murmured, "this should be interesting." She patted Harper's shoulder. "Word of advice, dear. When an alpha looks at you like that, running only makes the chase more fun." "I'm not running." "Aren't you?" Evelyn headed back to her office. "The coffee machine has instructions on the side. His meeting starts in 40 minutes. Harper was left alone in a kitchen that smelled like temptation and trouble. Pip poked his head out, whiskers quivering. "So," he said brightly, "I'm thinking we should definitely go to that hunt." "Absolutely not. He basically just asked you on a date. A weird, wolfy, running through the forest date? But still, he's going to choose a proper mate. Someone with breeding and status and a wolf that actually works." Harper found the coffee instructions, started measuring beans with shaking hands. "Not a broken servant who can't shift without crying." "Harper," Pip's voice went serious. "What if you're not broken? What if you're just different?" She laughed, bitter as the coffee grounds. "Different doesn't win alphas." "Want to bet?" Pip scrambled up to the counter, struck a dramatic pose. "I, Pip the Magnificent, do hereby wager 3 crumpets and a week of pocket-warming services that Gabriel Ashford is halfway in love with you already." "You're delusional." "I'm a moon sprite. We know things." He tapped his tiny nose. "Besides, did you see how he looked at you? Like you were Christmas pudding and he'd been fasting for a year." Harper's hand stilled on the coffee grinder. Down the hall, she could hear Gabriel on another call, his voice a low rumble that made her insides liquid. 3 days until the hunt. 3 days to pretend she didn't want to run straight into his arms. The coffee finished brewing at exactly 94 degrees. Harper poured it into the executive china, added it to a tray with the morning pastries. Her reflection in the coffee pot showed wide eyes and flushed cheeks. "You're going to that hunt," Pip whispered. "I can feel it in my whiskers." Harper didn't answer, but deep inside, beneath the silver's burn and 20 years of being told she was less than, her wolf lifted its head and howled. "Run!" it whispered. "Run to him!" The tray balanced perfectly in her hands as she headed for the boardroom. Through the glass doors, Gabriel stood at the head of the table, commanding the room with casual authority. He glanced up as she entered, and his lips curved in a smile that promised dark, wonderful things. "Ah," he said to the room at large, though his eyes never left hers. To Chapter 3. The boardroom erupted the moment Gabriel spoke the words. "The midnight hunt will be different this year." He stood at the head of the table, hands braced on the polished wood, looking every inch the predator despite his civilized suit. "I'm opening it to all unmated females in the territory, not just the approved bloodlines." Harper nearly dropped the coffee pot again. "That's unprecedented," Davidson sputtered, his face turning an alarming shade of purple. "The hunt has always been restricted to established families. It's tradition." "Tradition," Gabriel said softly. is just peer pressure from dead people. Pip made a sound suspiciously like a snort laugh in Harper's pocket. She pressed her hand against him as she moved around the table, pouring coffee with hands that definitely weren't shaking. But the logistics alone, Martinez leaned forward, her calculator brain already working. Do you have any idea how many unmated females that includes? We'd have chaos. 237, Gabriel replied without missing a beat. I had Evelyn run the numbers this morning. Harper's hand jerked. Coffee splashed dangerously close to Davidson's files. Careful, girl, he snapped without looking at her. My apologies. Harper steadied herself, continued pouring, but her mind raced. Every unmated female? That meant. This is about her, isn't it? A new voice from the doorway. Harper's stomach dropped as Councilwoman Blackthorne swept in, all sharp angles and sharper smile. The servant girl, really, Gabriel, I expected better. Every eye in the room swiveled to Harper. She froze, pot suspended over Blackthorne's cup. I have no idea what you mean, Gabriel said, but his eyes flicked to Harper for just a moment. The heat in that glance could have melted steel. Don't play coy. Blackthorne accepted her coffee without acknowledgement, as if Harper were furniture. The whole building's talking about it, how you demanded she be transferred to your floor, how you can't stop staring at her. A cruel smile. How inappropriate. What's inappropriate, Gabriel's voice dropped to a growl, is discussing my personal interests in a board meeting. Your personal interests affect the pack. Blackthorne sipped her coffee, made a face. Too weak. Like certain bloodlines. Harper's wolf snarled. Her hand tightened on the pot handle. Careful, Pip whispered in her mind. Don't let her bait you. The hunt will proceed as I've outlined, Gabriel continued, as if Blackthorne hadn't spoken. All unmated females. 3 nights hence. The moon will be full, the old protocols will be observed, and I will choose based on the run, not bloodline politics. And if they can't shift properly? Blackthorne's eyes found Harper again. We all know some wolves are defective, barely able to hold form for minutes, let alone the hours required for a true hunt. Harper's cheeks burned. The silver bangles pulsed with heat, reminding her of exactly how defective she was. Then they'll run as they can, Gabriel said simply. The hunt isn't about perfection, it's about connection. Connection. Blackthorne laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Is that what we're calling it now? Enough. The alpha command in Gabriel's voice made everyone freeze. Even Blackthorne went silent, though her eyes glittered with fury. The decision is made. Marketing will announce it within the hour. Any pack member who has issue with it can challenge me directly. Silence. Nobody was stupid enough to challenge an alpha in his prime. Wonderful. Gabriel's smile was all teeth. Harper, I'll take my second coffee in my office. The rest of you have your assignments. Dismissal clear, the board members filed out. Blackthorne paused at the door, her gaze sliding over Harper like oil. 3 nights, she murmured. We'll see what happens when the moon rises, and certain people can't deliver on their potential. The door clicked shut behind her. Harper stood frozen in the empty boardroom, pot still clutched in white-knuckled hands. Breathe, Pip instructed. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You're turning purple. Did that just happen? Harper set the pot down before she could drop it. Did Gabriel Ashford just change centuries of tradition for you? Yes. Pip popped his head out, whiskers twitching with excitement. Though he's trying to be subtle about it, failing miserably, but points for effort. He didn't do it for me. Harper gathered the empty cups with shaking hands. He's just being progressive. Right, and I'm just a regular mouse who likes fancy cheese. Pip scrambled to her shoulder. Harper, he practically declared his intentions in front of the entire board. That's huge. That's terrifying. Harper balanced the tray, headed for the door. Blackthorne wants me dead. Victoria's going to lock me in the basement, and I still can't shift properly. Details, Pip said airily. We'll figure it out. The walk to Gabriel's office felt like miles. The executive floor's hallway stretched endlessly. each step sinking into carpet that probably cost more than her yearly salary. At the far end, massive double doors stood partially open. She could hear him inside, speaking on the phone again. "No, Mother, I haven't lost my mind." His voice carried exhaustion and affection in equal measure. "Yes, I'm aware of the implications. No, I don't care what Aunt Millicent thinks." Harper hesitated at the threshold. Through the gap, she could see him standing at floor-to-ceiling windows, Miami sprawled below like a glittering promise. His jacket was off, sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms that made her mouth water. "Because it's time for change," he continued. "The old bloodlines are getting stale. We need fresh genetics, new perspectives." A pause. "No, that's not why. Mother, I have to go." "Someone's here." He hadn't turned, hadn't looked, but he knew she was there. Harper's wolf preened at being recognized by scent alone. She pushed through the doors, trying not to gawk. His office was enormous, a corner suite with views in two directions, all dark wood and leather and subtle power. Original artwork lined the walls, a sitting area that could host a small party, and his scent everywhere soaked into every surface. "Your coffee." She set the tray on his desk, proud when her hands stayed steady. 94 degrees, as requested. "Perfect." He turned from the window and Harper forgot how to breathe. The morning light hit him just right, turning his skin gold and his eyes to liquid silver. His hair was definitely mussed now, as if the phone call had required extensive hand-running. The rolled sleeves revealed not just muscle, but scars. Thin white lines that spoke of challenges faced and won. "Tell me something," he said, moving closer with that predator's grace. "Why does Councilwoman Blackthorne hate you?" Harper stepped back, hit the desk. "I don't know what you mean." "Don't lie to me." Closer still. "Her scent went aggressive the moment she saw you. There's history there." Harper's mind raced. She couldn't tell him about the Blackthorne Pack's offer 5 years ago, how they'd wanted to buy her from Victoria as a servant, how the negotiations had fallen through when Harper had accidentally partially shifted during the inspection, proving she wasn't completely human as advertised. "She doesn't like servants getting above themselves," Harper said instead. "True enough." Gabriel picked up his coffee, sipped. His eyes never left hers. "And are you? Getting above yourself?" "I'm just here to pour coffee." "Are you?" He set the cup down, moved around the desk until only inches separated them. "Because from where I'm standing, you're here to drive me slowly insane." Harper's breath caught. "Mr. Ashford." "Gabriel." His hand rose, hovering near her cheek without quite touching. "Say it." "I can't." "Why?" "Because." Harper's wolf was howling, throwing itself against her mental barriers. The silver bangles burned like brands. "Because if I say your name, I might forget who I am, who you are, what's possible and what isn't." His eyes darkened. "And what isn't possible?" "This." The word came out broken. "You're Gabriel Ashford, Alpha of the Northern Territory. You're going to mate with someone like Blackthorne's daughter or Davidson's niece. Someone with pure bloodlines and a wolf that works, and my wolf doesn't want them." The words rumbled from his chest. "It wants the servant girl who smells like moonflowers and mystery, who spills coffee on me and looks horrified, who has a mouse in her pocket that hums at frequencies only supernaturals can hear." Harper's eyes widened. "You can hear Pip?" "Is that its name?" Gabriel's lips quirked. "Fitting, and yes, I can hear the humming. Drove me mad all through yesterday's meeting until I realized what it was." "I don't understand." Harper's hands shook. "Pip's he's not a normal mouse." Gabriel's hand finally touched her cheek, and lightning sparked between them. "Just like you're not a normal wolf." "I can sense it, Harper. There's something different about you. Something more." "I'm broken." The words spilled out before she could stop them. "I can barely shift. Silver burns me worse than it should. I'm perfect." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "Whatever you are, you're perfect." "You don't know me." "Then run with me at the hunt." His other hand framed her face, holding her like something precious. "Let me chase you properly. Let me learn everything about you. I might not be able to shift." "Then run on 2 legs." His forehead touched hers. "I don't care how you run, Harper. Just run." A sharp knock shattered the moment. Gabriel stepped back, temperature dropping from volcanic to professional in seconds. "Come in." Evelyn entered with an apologetic smile. "The announcement's gone live. You might want to see the response." She handed him a tablet. Gabriel's eyebrows rose as he scrolled. "That was fast." "What is it?" Harper asked before she could stop herself. He turned the tablet. The screen showed the official PAC social media feed, already flooded with comments. Most were variations of shock and outrage from established families. But scattered throughout were others. Finally, a chance for all of us. Thank the moon. I thought I'd never have a shot. Gabriel Ashford just became my favorite alpha. The traditional families are furious, Evelyn noted. But the general PAC, they're ecstatic. We've had 47 applications in the last 5 minutes. Applications? Harper frowned. I thought it was open to all. Safety protocols, Gabriel explained. We need to know who's running for medical support if nothing else. Some wolves push too hard during the hunt, especially if they're not used to extended shifts. Harper's stomach sank. An application meant paperwork. Paperwork meant Victoria finding out. I should go, she said quickly. I'm sure you have calls to make. Harper. Gabriel's voice stopped her at the door. You have 3 days to decide, but know this. My wolf has already chosen. The hunt is just a formality. She fled before he could say anything else that made her want to throw away 20 years of knowing her place. Pip stayed silent until they reached the elevator. So, he said brightly, we're definitely going to that hunt now, right? Harper slumped against the elevator wall. Through the glass, Miami stretched endless below, all possibility and danger. Victoria will never let me apply. Who says she has to know? Pip's whiskers twitched mischievously. I may have noticed some very interesting delivery schedules while exploring the building's mail room. Applications can be submitted directly to the PAC registry. Downtown office, very discreet. You're suggesting I sneak behind my stepmother's back to enter a hunt for an alpha who's completely out of my league? Yes. Pip performed a tiny tap dance. Also, we should stop for crumpets on the way. All this romantic tension is making me hungry. The elevator dinged at the service floor. Harper squared her shoulders, stepped out into her regular world of uniforms and hierarchies and knowing one's place. But deep inside, her wolf stirred. For the first time in 20 years, it felt hope. 3 days. The hunt was in 3 days, and Harper Lee, Broken Wolf, and Servant Girl was going to run. Chapter 4. Harper's shift ended at 3, but she didn't go home. Instead, she took the subway to Wynwood, where the art district bled into older neighborhoods that smelled of Cuban coffee and spray paint. Pip rode in her jacket pocket. She'd changed out of her uniform in a coffee shop bathroom, paranoid that Victoria had tracking spells on the ugly gray polyester. Turn left at the Botanica, Pip instructed, his nose poking out to scent the air. Then straight for 3 blocks. How do you know where we're going? Harper dodged a group of tourists photographing murals. I just said I needed help and you suddenly have directions? Moon sprites know things. Pip's whiskers twitched mysteriously. Also, I may have been exploring more than just mailrooms while you sleep. The Botanica's window displayed Santos and candles that made Harper's wolf nervous. She hurried past, following Pip's directions deeper into a neighborhood where the paint peeled and the dogs behind fences weren't always dogs. There, Pip pointed with one tiny paw. The house with the blue door. It looked abandoned. Weeds choked the front yard and boards covered most of the windows. But the blue door gleamed like new paint, and Harper's wolf perked up at the scent drifting from within, herbs and magic and something ancient. Go on, Pip urged. Knock. Harper raised her hand, hesitated. What if... The door swung open. About time, said the woman in the doorway. I've been expecting you for years. Harper's jaw dropped. The woman was magnificent, skin like polished mahogany, silver locks swept into an elaborate crown, eyes that held galaxies. She wore a simple sundress, but power radiated from her like heat from a forge. "You," Harper stammered. "I'm Elena." The woman stepped aside. "And you're Amelia Rose's daughter. Come in before the neighbors see. Mrs. Garcia is lovely, but she gossips." Harper's feet moved without conscious thought. The inside of the house defied its exterior, clean, bright, smelling of sage, and something floral that made her wolf sing. "You knew my mother?" The words came out strangled. "Knew her? Child, I delivered you." Elena led them to a kitchen that belonged in a magazine. Copper pots, hanging herbs, sunlight streaming through clean windows. "Sit. Tea first, then truth." Harper sank into a chair at the scarred wooden table. Pip scrambled out to perch on the sugar bowl, unusually quiet. "Lady Elena, eh?" he said formally, inclining his tiny head. "Lord Pip." Elena smiled, setting a kettle on the stove. "Still causing chaos, I see." "You two know each other?" Harper looked between them. Moon sprites and kitchen witches have long memories. Elena pulled cups from a cabinet. "Though I haven't seen this particular sprite since the night you were born. You've been taking good care of him." "He's been taking care of me," Harper corrected. "I still don't understand. Silver." Elena turned, gestured to Harper's wrists. "May I?" Harper extended her arms reluctantly. Elena's fingers were gentle as she examined the bangles, but her expression darkened. "Blood magic," she spat, "and sloppy work at that. No wonder your wolf suffers." Victoria said they were for protection. Victoria Lee is a parasite who's been feeding off your power for 20 years. Elena's eyes flashed. "These aren't protection, child. They're chains." The kettle whistled. Elena poured water over herbs that immediately filled the kitchen with scent, mint and vervain and something that sparkled. She set a cup in front of Harper. "Drink. It will help with the pain." Harper sipped cautiously. Warmth spread through her chest, and for the first time in memory, the silver's burn faded to a dull ache. "Better?" Elena sat across from her. "Now, ask your questions." "My mother was the last Luna of the Moonfire pack." Elena's voice gentled. "A line of wolves blessed by the moon herself, able to channel lunar magic in ways others couldn't. Your father was her mate, a good wolf from good stock, but it was Amelia who carried the power." Harper's hands shook around the cup. "The Moonfire pack? I've never heard of them." "Because Victoria made sure of that." Elena's jaw tightened. 20 years ago, your parents controlled prime territory, land that connected major pack holdings, valuable for commerce, sacred for its moon pools. Victoria wanted it. Your parents refused to sell. So she killed them." Harper's wolf snarled. "She was part of it." Elena chose her words carefully. "The conspiracy ran deeper. Several packs wanted Moonfire territory, but Victoria was the one who got close, pretending friendship, learning your mother's routines. And then? The night you turned 15, your parents were driving back from a pack meeting. The road was icy. Their car went off the mountain." Elena's eyes held ancient sadness. "But before she died, your mother managed one last spell. She bound your power deep, so deep that even blood magic couldn't fully reach it. Those bangles can only suppress what's already hidden." Harper's mind spun. "She hid my wolf?" "She hid your birthright." Elena stood, moved to an antique cabinet. "The Moonfire wolves were special, Harper. They could run between worlds, channel moon madness into magic, heal or destroy with equal ease. In the wrong hands, that power could reshape the supernatural world. But I can barely shift because you're wearing chains and fighting your own nature." Elena returned with a leather journal. "This was your mother's. I've kept it safe, waiting for you to be ready." Harper touched the worn cover with trembling fingers. It smelled like her mother, moonflowers and rain. "The midnight hunt," Elena continued, "is in 3 days. How did you—" "Gabriel Ashford changed the rules for you." Elena smiled. "Oh, he tells himself it's about progress and fresh bloodlines. but wolves know their mates. He's been searching without knowing it, and now he's found you. He doesn't know me, Harper protested. If he knew what I was, how broken. You're not broken. Elena's voice cracked like a whip. You're bound. There's a difference. And with the full moon's power during the hunt, those bindings will be weakest. You're saying I should run. I'm saying you should fly. Elena pulled a velvet pouch from her pocket. But first, we need to give you wings. She opened the pouch, revealing a pendant. A silver moon cradling a black stone that seemed to hold starlight. This will hurt, Elena warned. It's going to force your power to fight the bindings. You'll be sick, probably feverish. But when the moon rises on hunt night, I'll be free? You'll be yourself. Elena held out the pendant. The question is, are you ready to meet her? Harper looked at Pip, who nodded encouragingly. Thought of Gabriel's eyes, the promise in them, of 20 years of being less than, of her mother's sacrifice. She took the pendant. The moment it touched her skin, lightning struck. Not the pleasant tingle of Gabriel's touch. This was raw power meeting blood magic in violent opposition. Harper screamed, doubling over. Hold on, Elena commanded, fastening the chain around Harper's neck. Let it work. Fire raced through Harper's veins. Her wolf, dormant for so long, suddenly roared to life. She could feel it, really feel it, for the first time since childhood. Not the weak shadow she'd been shifting into, but something massive and wild and angry. That's it, Elena crooned. Let her wake up. Let her remember. Harper's vision blurred. The kitchen faded, replaced by memories that couldn't be hers. Running through moonlit forests, power crackling between her teeth, a pack of white wolves singing to the sky. Moonfire, her wolf whispered. We are Moonfire. The pain receded, leaving Harper gasping on Elena's kitchen floor. Pip perched on her shoulder, patting her cheek with tiny paws. You did it, he squeaked. You took the first step. The pendant will protect your emerging power, Elena helped her sit up. But you must wear it always, especially around Victoria. She'll sense something's changed. How long? Harper's voice was rough. How long until? 3 days, Elena smiled. Just in time for a certain alpha to chase his mate properly. Harper touched the pendant. It hummed against her skin, warm where the silver bangles burned cold. There's more, Elena said carefully. The conspiracy that killed your parents, it's not over. They've been buying pack lands, consolidating power, and now that Gabriel's shown interest in you, they'll try to stop me. They'll try to kill you. Elena's expression was grave. The moment you shift at the hunt, every wolf there will know what you are. The last Moonfire heir, the one who got away. Maybe I shouldn't. Your mother died to give you this chance. Elena gripped Harper's shoulders. Don't waste it on fear. Harper's phone buzzed. Victoria, where are you? Dinner service starts in an hour. I have to go. Harper stood, legs shaky. But the journal. Take it. Elena pressed the leather book into her hands. Read it when you're alone. Learn who you really are. Harper made it to the door before turning back. Why now? Why help me now? Elena's smile was sad and proud at once. Because Gabriel Ashford isn't the only one who's been searching. I made a promise to your mother as she died. When my daughter finds her mate, she said, give her back her moon. The blue door closed behind Harper with a soft click. She stood in the overgrown yard, journal clutched to her chest, pendant warm against her skin. So, Pip said conversationally, we're definitely going to that hunt now. Yes. Harper's voice came out stronger than expected. We're going to run. And somewhere across the city, in a glass tower that scraped the sky, an alpha paused mid-sentence in a board meeting. His wolf stirred, scenting something on the wind that made his blood sing. Soon, Gabriel thought, not understanding why the word felt like a promise. 3 days. The moon was coming, and with it, everything would change. Chapter 5. Harper made it 3 blocks before the fever hit. One moment she was power walking toward the subway, the next she was clinging to a stop sign while the world tilted sideways. Sweat beaded on her forehead despite the evening chill. "Harper?" Pip's voice sounded distant. "Harper, you're burning up." "I'm fine." The words came out slurred. The pendant against her chest pulsed like a second heartbeat, each throb sending waves of heat through her body. "You're not fine, you're glowing." Pip scrambled to her shoulder, pressing his tiny paw to her neck. "Oh, moon and stars, you're actually glowing." Harper looked down. He was right. A faint silver shimmer danced across her skin, visible even through her clothes. Her wolf stirred, restless and eager. "Need to get home." Harper pushed off from the sign, stumbled. "Before someone sees." "Not home," Pip squeaked in alarm. "Victoria will smell the magic on you. We need somewhere safe." Harper's phone buzzed. "Victoria again. Your absence has been noted. Sia will handle dinner service. Your pay will be docked accordingly." A hysterical laugh bubbled up. Docked pay was the least of her worries when her skin was literally glowing, and her bones felt like they were rearranging themselves. "Wait." Pip's whiskers twitched. "I know where we can go." 20 minutes later, Harper collapsed against the door of a storage unit in a climate-controlled facility downtown. Pip had directed her here through increasingly blurry instructions, using service corridors and back entrances to avoid security cameras. "How do you know about this place?" Harper fumbled with the combination lock Pip recited. "I told you, I explore." The lock clicked open. "Plus, I may have followed you that time you came here 3 years ago." Harper pushed inside, muscle memory finding the light switch. The storage unit was small but carefully organized. Boxes labeled Mom's books, Dad's tools, family photos, things Victoria had been about to throw away after the funeral. Items Harper had secretly saved using her first year's wages. She sank onto an old camping cot in the corner, teeth chattering despite the fever. "This is going to be a rough night," Pip observed, making a nest in a box of winter scarves. "The pendant is forcing 20 years of suppressed power to the surface. Your body has to remember how to be what it truly is." Harper pulled out her mother's journal with shaking hands. The leather cover felt warm, welcoming. She opened to the first page. "My dearest daughter," the elegant script began. "If you're reading this, then the worst has happened, and Elena has kept her promise. I'm sorry for the binding, my love. Sorry for clipping your wings before you could fly. But the alternative was watching them tear you apart for what you are." Tears blurred Harper's vision. She blinked them away, kept reading. "The Moonfire legacy is not just power, it's responsibility. We are the moon's daughters, the bridge between the celestial and the earthbound. Our wolves are not like others. When you run, you'll understand." A spasm racked Harper's body. She curled into a ball, journal clutched to her chest. Her wolf pushed against her skin from the inside, demanding freedom. "Not yet," she gasped. "Not here. Let me help." Pip abandoned his nest, crawled onto her shoulder. He hummed, that strange frequency that only supernaturals could hear. The sound wrapped around Harper like a blanket, easing the worst of the pain. She forced herself to keep reading. "There will be those who fear you. The Moonfire pack was destroyed because we refused to weaponize our gifts. We would not be attack dogs for power-hungry alphas. We would not turn the moon's blessing into a curse." Another page, another revelation. "Your mate will know you by scent, moonflowers and starlight. He will be drawn to you like the tide to the shore. Trust in that pull, even when everything else seems impossible." "Gabriel," Harper whispered. The fever spiked higher. Hours passed in a blur of heat and transformation. Harper drifted between consciousness and dreams. Or were they memories? White wolves running across the sky? Moon pools that reflected other worlds? Her mother's voice singing lullabies in the old language. Sometime near midnight, her phone rang. Gabriel's name on the screen made her wolf howl. "Don't answer," Pip warned. "You can barely form words right now." But Harper's thumb moved without permission, accepting the call. "Harper?" His voice was rough with concern. "Evelyn said you didn't return after your shift. Are you all right?" "I'm..." What could she say? I'm burning alive? My dead mother's pendant is rearranging my DNA? I'm sick. Where are you? Immediate alarm. I'll send a car. No! The word came out as a half growl. Harper clamped her hand over her mouth. I mean, no thank you. It's just a fever. I'll be fine. Silence. Then, "You're lying. I'm not. I can hear it in your voice." His tone gentled. "Harper, whatever's happening, let me help." For one desperate moment, she wanted to tell him everything. But the journal's warnings echoed. There will be those who fear you. I'll be there tomorrow, she managed. I promise. Harper. She ended the call, tossed the phone aside. Her wolf whined at cutting off their mate's voice. That was close, Pip muttered. Though I bet he's going to be insufferable tomorrow. Protective alphas are the worst. Harper would have laughed if she wasn't busy trying not to scream. The pendant burned like a star against her chest. She could feel her bones reshaping, her muscles reconfiguring. This wasn't a shift. It was a complete reconstruction. She must have passed out because the next thing she knew, dawn light filtered through the unit's small window. Harper sat up slowly, assessing. Everything felt different. About time, Pip yawned from his scarf nest. You've been unconscious for 6 hours. Very boring for me. Harper stood, marveling at how fluid the movement felt. No aches from sleeping on a cot. No lingering exhaustion despite the night's ordeal. She felt like she could run for miles. Her phone showed 17 missed calls. 3 from Victoria, 2 from Sia, 12 from Gabriel, plus a text from an unknown number. Miss Lee, this is Evelyn. Mr. Ashford is concerned about your well-being. Please confirm you're alive so he'll stop pacing grooves in his office carpet. Despite everything, Harper smiled. She texted back, alive. Sorry for worrying everyone. We'll be there by 7. She gathered her things, carefully packing the journal. The pendant still pulsed against her skin, but gently now, like a satisfied cat's purr. Ready to face the world? Pip climbed to her shoulder. No, Harper squared her shoulders. But I'm going anyway. The subway ride to work was surreal. Colors seemed brighter, scents more distinct. She could hear conversations from 3 cars away, feel the emotional states of everyone around her. Her wolf padded just under her skin, alert but patient. Soon, it promised. 2 more days. The Ashford Industries building loomed ahead. Harper braced herself for questions, for suspicion, for... Finally. She'd barely stepped off the elevator when Gabriel appeared. He looked like he'd slept in his office. Same clothes as yesterday. Stubble darkening his jaw, hair thoroughly mussed. You're here. He stopped just short of touching her, hands clenching at his sides. When you didn't answer, I'm sorry. The words were inadequate. I really was sick, but I'm better now. His nostrils flared. You smell different. Harper's heart stopped. I changed shampoo? No. He circled her slowly, and Harper fought not to fidget. It's subtle, but there's something more, like... He paused, frowning. Like moonlight. That's ridiculous, Harper said weakly. Is it? He stopped in front of her, too close for professional distance. Everything about you defies explanation, Harper Lee. Why should your scent be any different? My coffee service can wait. He caught her hand, studied it like it held answers. Your skin is warmer. Your heartbeat is stronger. And your eyes. What about my eyes? They're gold. His thumb traced her knuckles. They were brown yesterday. Today they're gold. Harper yanked her hand back. That's lighting. Just the morning light. Harper, I should go. She fled toward the kitchen. 94 degrees, right? I remember. He let her go, but she felt his gaze like a physical touch all the way down the hall. The morning passed in a blur of coffee service and avoided questions. Every time Gabriel tried to corner her, Evelyn appeared with urgent business. Harper suspected the assistant was running interference on purpose. You look better, Evelyn commented during a brief break. More. Yourself. Harper nearly dropped the sugar bowl. What do you mean? Oh, nothing specific. Evelyn's smile was knowing, just that sometimes it takes a while for people to grow into who they're meant to be. 20 years, give or take. Before Harper could respond, the office door burst open. Victoria stood there, Sia at her shoulder, both dressed in power suits and predatory smiles. "Harper, darling," Victoria purred, "we need to talk about the hunt." Harper's blood turned to ice. "Mrs. Lee," Gabriel appeared from his office, all alpha authority. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" "Just collecting our wayward servant." Victoria's smile could have cut glass. "She has duties at home. Her duty is here until 3 p.m. Gabriel's tone brooked no argument. As per her employment contract. "Of course." Victoria's gaze found Harper. "We'll wait." They settled in the lounge like vultures on a wire. Harper tried to focus on her work, but her hands shook. The pendant pulsed warning against her chest. "Steady," Pip whispered from her pocket. "Don't let them smell fear." Finally, blessedly, 3 o'clock arrived. "Time to go home," Victoria announced brightly. "We have so much to discuss." Harper gathered her things, avoiding Gabriel's concerned gaze. She made it to the elevator before he caught up. "Whatever they're planning," he said quietly, "you don't have to face it alone." "Yes," Harper said sadly, "I do." The elevator doors closed between them. Victoria waited until they were in the car to strike. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" She held up a paper. Harper's hunt application processed and approved. "Did you think you could sneak around behind my back?" Harper's wolf snarled. For the first time in 20 years, Harper didn't try to silence it. "It's my right," she said evenly. "Any unmated female can run." "You are not any female." Victoria's composure cracked. "You are mine, bought and paid for, and you will not embarrass this family by shifting into that pathetic excuse for a wolf in front of the entire pack." "What if I could shift properly?" The words escaped before Harper could stop them. Victoria went very still. "What have you done?" "Nothing." Harper touched the pendant through her shirt. "Yet." "Sia," Victoria said coldly, "call Dr. Morrison. Tell him we need an emergency appointment." "What?" Harper's stomach dropped. "Why?" "Silver poisoning," Victoria continued as if Harper hadn't spoken. "Severe case. She'll need to be sedated for her own safety. Quarantined until after the hunt, of course. Such a shame. You can't—" "I can," Victoria smiled. "I'm your legal guardian. Have been for 20 years. And if I say you're sick, who's going to argue?" Harper's wolf rose, pushing against the silver's burn. For a moment, just a moment, her hands flickered with claws. Victoria's eyes widened. Impossible. 2 days, Harper said softly. "You have 2 days to stop me. Good luck with that." She opened the car door at a red light and ran. Behind her, Victoria's shriek of rage could probably be heard in space. But Harper didn't care. She ran through traffic, Pip clinging to her shoulder, her wolf singing with every step. Her phone buzzed. "Gabriel." "My security just reported you jumping from a moving vehicle. Are you insane?" She texted back while running. "Possibly. Definitely free." His response was immediate. "Where are you?" Harper looked around, realized she'd run straight to Elena's neighborhood. The blue door beckoned in the distance. "Safe," she sent back. "I'll see you tomorrow." If Victoria didn't drug her first. If the fever didn't return. If her emerging power didn't tear her apart. But for now, Harper ran through Miami's streets with her wolf finally stirring to life, and felt hope burning brighter than 20 years of silver chains. 2 days until the hunt. 2 days to become who she was always meant to be. The moon was rising, and Harper Lee, last daughter of the Moonfire pack, was finally ready to meet it. Chapter 6. The moon hung fat and silver above Everglades National Park, turning the sawgrass prairie into an ocean of light and shadow. Harper stood at the edge of the designated hunt grounds, her bare feet sinking into damp earth that smelled of wild things and ancient magic. "Stop fidgeting," Pip whispered from her shoulder. "You look amazing." Harper tugged at the traditional hunt dress, white linen that would be easy to shed when shifting, barefoot as required by the old protocols. Around her, other females gathered in similar attire, their excitement and anxiety mixing into a scent cocktail that made her wolf pace. 2 days had passed in a blur. Victoria had sent people after her, private security, pack enforcers, even a bounty hunter who specialized in retrieving wayward pack members. Elena's house had proven to be warded against such intrusions, much to their frustration. "She's going to be here," Harper muttered, scanning the crowd. "Victoria won't let this go. Let her come." Elena appeared at Harper's side, dressed in ceremonial robes that marked her as the hunt's official witness. "The old laws are clear. No one can interfere with a female's right to run once she's on sacred ground." Sacred ground. Harper could feel it thrumming through her bare feet. Power as old as the moon itself, soaked into the earth by generations of wolves. Her mother had run here, her grandmother, all the way back to the first Moonfire wolves who danced between earth and sky. A horn sounded, deep and primal. The males were arriving. Harper's wolf surged at the first hint of pine smoke and winter storms. Gabriel emerged from the tree line with the other unmated males, and her breath caught. He'd forsaken his usual suits for traditional hunt attire, leather pants, bare chest marked with ceremonial paint in patterns that highlighted every ridge of muscle. His feet were bare like hers, his hair loose around his shoulders. He looked wild, dangerous, perfect. His eyes found hers across the field, and the impact nearly knocked her off her feet. "Mate," her wolf sang. "Ours. Harper Lee." She turned to find Victoria pushing through the crowd, Dr. Morrison at her side with a medical bag. Sia followed, smirking. "There you are." Victoria's smile was all teeth. "Dr. Morrison is here to examine you. For your own safety, of course." "I'm not going anywhere with him." Harper stepped back, but security guards materialized around her. Victoria's private team, she realized. Not pack. Now. Dr. Morrison opened his bag, revealing a syringe filled with silver-laced sedative. "This won't hurt. Much." Harper's wolf snarled. The pendant burned against her chest, and power rippled under her skin. But before she could react, a wall of male muscle inserted itself between her and the doctor. "I believe," Gabriel said softly, "you're in my way." The security guards hesitated. Gabriel might be dressed for the hunt, but his alpha presence filled the space like a storm front. "Mr. Ashford," Victoria's voice oozed false sweetness. "I'm simply concerned for Harper's welfare. She's been ill. She looks healthy to me." Gabriel's hand found Harper's, and lightning crackled between them. "In fact, she looks magnificent." "You don't understand," Victoria pressed. "She's not what she seems. Her wolf is hers." Gabriel's tone went deadly. "As she is mine, if she'll have me, and anyone who touches her will answer to me." The threat hung in the air like a blade. Around them, other hunt participants backed away, sensing the confrontation. "The horn of beginning!" someone shouted. The second horn blast shattered the tension. Ancient magic stirred, and Harper felt her wolf rise, no longer willing to be contained. "Places!" Elena commanded, her voice carrying magical authority. "Females to the eastern circle, males to the west. Any who interfere with the hunt will face the council's justice." Victoria had no choice but to retreat, but her eyes promised retribution. Harper barely noticed. The moon was calling, and her blood sang in response. The females formed a large circle in the eastern clearing. Harper found herself between a shy accountant who worked in Gabriel's building and one of Blackthorn's cousins who sneered at her proximity. "Sisters," Elena intoned, raising her staff, "tonight you run not as servants or socialites, not as poor or wealthy, but as wolves. The moon sees only your heart, your spirit, your truth. When the third horn sounds, you will shift and run. The males will follow after a count of 100. Run well, run true, and may you find what you seek." Harper's hands trembled. This was it. 20 years of suppression, of being less than, came down to this moment. "I can't," someone whispered. The accountant, Meredith, was shaking. haven't shifted in years. My ex said my wolf was too ugly. No wolf is ugly under the moon, Harper found herself saying. Run as you are. That's all anyone can do. Meredith gave her a watery smile. Easy for you to say. Gabriel Ashford wants you. He wants who he thinks I am. Harper touched the pendant through her dress. He's about to meet who I really am. The third horn sounded. Magic exploded across the field. All around Harper, women shed their dresses and shifted, the air filling with the crack of reshaping bones and triumphant howls. Wolves of every color burst into being. Brown, black, red, gray. Harper closed her eyes and let go. 20 years of chains shattered. The pendant flared hot, then cool, as her true nature finally broke free. She felt her bones reshape, her muscles reconfigure, but there was no pain. Only freedom. Only joy. Only power. She opened her eyes to find everyone staring. Where other wolves stood normal-sized and earth-toned, Harper was something else entirely. Her fur was pure white, but not the flat white of winter. This was moonlight made manifest, shifting between silver and pearl with each movement. She stood taller than any female should, her form elegant and powerful. Moon-touched, someone breathed. She's moon-touched. Harper looked down at her paws and gasped, or tried to. What came out was a musical sound, like bells ringing. Her claws weren't black but crystal, catching and refracting moonlight. When she moved, she left faint prints that glowed before fading. "Run!" her wolf urged. "Show them how Moonfire daughters move." Harper ran. She'd expected to be clumsy after 20 years of suppression. Instead, she flowed like water, like light itself. The earth barely felt her passage as she streaked toward the forest, other wolves scattering from her path. Behind her, she heard the male's count ending, then the thunder of pursuing paws. But Harper wasn't worried. Her wolf knew these paths, not from experience, but from blood memory. This was Moonfire territory once. The land recognized its lost daughter. She led them deep into the glades, where cypress trees created cathedral spaces and moonlight turned water to mirror glass. Some females stopped to be caught by eager males. Others ran in packs, making the males work for their attention. Harper ran alone, her wolf reveling in its freedom. She could smell Gabriel pursuing, pine smoke and winter storms mixed with raw desire. But others followed too, males who'd scented her power and wanted to claim it. "Let them try," her wolf laughed. She took them through water that should have slowed her, but didn't. She ran across the surface like it was solid ground, leaving only ripples. She leaped spans that should have been impossible, her form blurring between solid and something more ethereal. "What is she?" she heard someone gasp. "Moonfire," the wind seemed to whisper. The lost heir of Moonfire. Harper reached a clearing where an ancient cypress grew, its roots forming a natural throne. She paused there, sides heaving, and turned to face her pursuers. They emerged from the forest in waves. First, the ambitious ones, Blackthorn's son, Davidson's nephew, others who saw her power and wanted to possess it. They approached with dominant postures, growling challenges. Harper's response was pure instinct. She threw back her head and sang. It wasn't a howl, it was music made manifest, a sound that belonged to the moon itself. The approaching males stumbled, whimpering. Some dropped to their bellies in submission. Others fled. Then Gabriel arrived. His wolf was massive, pure black with those storm-gray eyes that saw straight through her. He moved through the clearing like shadow given form, and the other males parted before him. He stopped 10 feet away, head tilted, studying her. Harper held her breath. This was the moment. Would he run like the others? Would her true nature be too much for... Gabriel shifted. In wolf form, the change was fluid. In human form, naked under the moonlight with ceremonial paint tracing his muscles, he was devastating. "Hello, little moon," he said softly. "I've been looking for you." Harper's wolf keened. She wanted to shift too, to answer him, but "Don't," he said, reading her hesitation. Not yet. Let me see you. Let me understand what my wolf has been screaming about since the day you spilled coffee on me. He approached slowly, hands visible, no threat in his posture despite his alpha nature. When he was close enough to touch, he sank to his knees in the soft earth. Moonfire, he breathed. Your Moonfire. I thought they were all gone. Harper whined, pressing her muzzle into his hand. 20 years ago, the last Moonfire alphas died. His fingers found the spot behind her ears that made her melt. Their daughter vanished. Some said she was dead too. Others said she was hidden, bound, waiting for the right moment to return. His other hand came up to frame her face, and Harper realized he was crying. My grandfather told me stories, he continued, about the moon wolves who could run between worlds, who kept the balance between earth and sky. He said if I ever found one, I should protect her with my life. Because Moonfire wolves don't just belong to their mates, they belong to the moon itself. Harper couldn't stand it anymore. She shifted, the change rippling through her like silk. One moment wolf, the next kneeling naked in the moonlight, Gabriel's hands now framing her human face. I'm broken, she whispered. Victoria bound me. I've been sleeping for 20 years. I don't know how to be what I'm supposed to be. Then we'll learn together. He pulled her against him, and she could feel his heart racing. Harper Lee, last daughter of Moonfire, will you run with me? A roar shattered the moment. Wolves burst into the clearing, Victoria's security team in shifted form, flanking a wolf Harper recognized by scent. Sia, but wrong, enhanced somehow. Stand aside, Ashford. Victoria's voice came from the forest edge. She stood in human form, Dr. Morrison beside her with another syringe. That thing is mine by law. 20 years of guardianship say so. That woman is mine by choice, Gabriel snarled, shifting instantly. His wolf placed itself between Harper and the threat. Touch her and die. Oh, I won't touch her. Victoria smiled. Sia will. Did you know silver can be bonded to living tissue? Dr. Morrison is quite clever. Sia's claws are pure silver now. One scratch and Harper's wolf dies forever. Sia stalked forward, her gray wolf form rippling with unnatural power. Her claws gleamed metallic in the moonlight. Harper's wolf rose, no longer the broken thing of yesterday, but something ancient and angry. The pendant burned against her chest as she shifted, and this time her form was even larger, more luminous. You want to dance, little sister? Harper's mental voice echoed across the clearing. Let's dance. She moved like lightning, like thought itself. Sia lunged with those silver claws, but Harper wasn't there. She was above, beside, behind, moving in ways that defied physics. Impossible, Morrison breathed. Moonfire, Elena corrected, appearing at the clearing's edge with other witnesses. You bound a force of nature for 20 years. Now she's free. Harper caught Sia's throat in her jaws, careful not to break skin. Yield, she commanded. Sia whimpered, going limp. The fight was over before it began. No! Victoria screamed. Kill her! I command you! I don't think so, Harper said, her mental voice reaching every wolf present. You stole 20 years from me, killed my parents, sold our lands. But you made one mistake. What? Victoria's voice cracked. Harper shifted to human form, standing tall and unashamed in the moonlight. The pendant at her throat blazed like a star. You let me live, Harper said simply, and now I want my inheritance back, all of it. Every acre of Moonfire land you sold, every penny you made from my parents' death, and my freedom, retroactive to the night you put these chains on me. She held up her wrists. The silver bangles were cracking, unable to contain what she'd become. You can't, Victoria started. She can. Elena stepped forward. Ancient law. A Moonfire heir who manifests under the Hunt Moon can reclaim all that was taken. Will you yield, Victoria Lee? Or shall we let the moon judge your crimes? Victoria looked around wildly. Her security team had fled. Sia lay whimpering in submission. Even Morrison was backing away. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Yes," Harper said quietly. "It is." The bangles shattered, falling to the earth in silver fragments. Harper gasped at the sudden, complete freedom. No pain, no barriers, just her wolf, free and whole at last. Gabriel's arms wrapped around her from behind, his warmth chasing away 20 years of cold. "Run with me?" he asked again. This time, Harper didn't hesitate. "Always." They shifted together, black and white, shadow and moonlight. Around them, the other wolves howled celebration. The lost heir had returned. The Moonfire line lived. And somewhere in the forest, Victoria Lee ran in human form, knowing her empire built on blood and lies had just crumbled. But Harper didn't care about revenge or inheritance or anything beyond this moment. She ran beside her mate under the moon that had finally called her home, and for the first time in 20 years, she was exactly where she belonged. Chapter 7. Harper had never run free before. Not truly. Her wolf form flowed through the Everglades like moonlight on water, each stride covering impossible distances. Beside her, Gabriel's black wolf kept pace, his presence a comforting shadow to her light. Behind them, the other hunt participants had fallen away, leaving just the two of them racing through ancient territory. "This way," her wolf whispered, blood memory guiding her paws. She led him deeper into the preserve, to places humans rarely saw, where the tourist boardwalks ended and the true wild began. Cypress trees rose like cathedral pillars, their knees creating obstacle courses that Harper navigated with inherited grace. Gabriel followed without hesitation, trusting her lead, his scent, pine and storms, mixed with joy and desire and something deeper. Wonder, Harper realized. He was in awe of what she'd become. "What I always was," she corrected herself. "Just hidden." "Harper!" Pip's tiny voice carried on the wind. She'd almost forgotten him in the chaos of the shift. The moon sprite clung to Gabriel's fur, having apparently decided the alpha made a suitable mount. "There's something ahead, something old." Harper slowed, nostrils flaring. Pip was right. Beyond the normal swamp scents, mud, vegetation, hidden gators, something else lingered. Magic, but not the raw earth magic of the hunt grounds. This was refined, structured. Moonfire magic, her wolf supplied. She paused at the edge of a clearing that shouldn't exist. In the middle of the Everglades wilderness sat a perfect circle of white stones, each one carved with symbols that glowed faintly under the moon. At the center, a pool of water reflected not the sky above, but something else. Stars in formations Harper didn't recognize. Gabriel shifted beside her, his human form solidly reassuring. "What is this place?" Harper followed suit, the change feeling as natural as breathing now. I think it's a moon pool. Mom's journal mentioned them. Sacred spaces where Moonfire wolves could what? He moved closer, his hand finding hers. "Touch the divine," a new voice finished. They spun to find Elena emerging from the trees, still in her ceremonial robes but moving with purpose. She wasn't alone. Several older pack members followed, faces Harper vaguely recognized from formal gatherings where servants stayed invisible. "Elena?" Harper stepped forward. "What are you doing here?" Bearing witness, the witch approached the stone circle with reverence. "And fulfilling a promise. This moon pool has been warded and hidden for 20 years, waiting for a Moonfire heir to reclaim it." "My mother?" "Your mother's last spell before she died." Elena's eyes glistened. She knew Victoria would desecrate any Moonfire sacred sites she found, so Amelia hid the most important one, keyed it to her bloodline. Only you could have found it. Harper approached the stones slowly. The moment her bare foot crossed the circle's edge, the pool's surface rippled. The strange stars swirled, rearranged, and suddenly Harper was looking at, "Mom?" The word came out broken. The reflection wasn't her own. Amelia Rose stood in the water's surface exactly as Harper remembered. Wild dark hair, golden wolf eyes, that crooked smile that meant mischief. "My darling girl," the image said, and Harper's knees buckled. Gabriel caught her, held her upright as tears streamed down her face. "If you're seeing this, then you've found your wolf at last. I'm so proud of you." "It's a memory spell," Elena explained softly. "Imprinted on the pool, waiting. Harper, my love, there's so much I need to tell you and so little time." Her mother's image flickered. "The Moonfire legacy isn't just about power. We are the bridge between realms, the ones who maintain balance. But there are those who would use our gifts for darker purposes." "Victoria," Harper growled. "Victoria was a pawn," Amelia corrected. "A greedy, willing pawn, but still just a piece on a larger board. The real threat comes from those who remember what Moonfire wolves can do when corrupted. They've been patient, waiting for you to emerge." "Who?" Gabriel demanded, his protective instincts flaring. "Who threatens her?" Amelia's gaze shifted to him, and she smiled. "Gabriel Ashford. I see my daughter found her match. Good, she'll need you for what's coming." The image turned back to Harper. "In 3 days, when the moon is dark, they'll move. The Devourer cult still exists, hidden in shadow. They'll try to take you, use your blood to open doors that should stay closed." "Devourer?" Harper's wolf bristled at the name. "Wolves who feed on other wolves," Elena said grimly. "Cannibals who believe consuming Moonfire essence will grant them the power to walk between worlds. But first," Amelia continued, "they'll try to break you, make you vulnerable. They know a Moonfire wolf's greatest weakness." "What weakness?" Harper leaned forward. Her mother's image touched her chest. "Right where the pendant lay, our hearts. We love too deeply, trust too completely. They'll use that against you. Don't let them." The image began to fade. "Wait!" Harper reached for the water. "There's so much I need to ask. Trust your wolf. Trust your mate. And remember," Amelia's voice grew distant, "Moonfire burns brightest in the dark." The pool went still, reflecting only the normal sky. Harper knelt by the water's edge, shoulders shaking. 20 years of questions, and a 2-minute message was all she got. It wasn't fair. None of this was fair. "Hey!" Gabriel's arms wrapped around her from behind. "I've got you." "She's gone." Harper turned into his embrace. "Really gone this time." "But you're here." He pressed his lips to her hair. "And you're not alone." Such a touching scene. The voice slithered across the clearing like oil. Harper's wolf snarled as figures emerged from the shadows. Wolves, but wrong. Their eyes held a red tinge, their forms too large, too angular. And their scent. "Decay!" Pip squeaked from Gabriel's shoulder. "They smell like death." "Devourer cultists," Elena hissed, raising her staff. The other witnesses formed a protective circle, but they were outnumbered 3-1. The lead cultist stepped forward. In human form, he might have been handsome once, but something had twisted him. His smile showed too many teeth, all filed to points. "Harper Lee," he purred, "the lost Moonfire princess. We've been waiting so long for you to finally bloom." "Back off," Gabriel growled, shifting partially. Claws extended, eyes going wolf gold. "This is hunt territory, sacred ground." "Sacred to your tame moon," the cultist laughed. "We serve older powers, hungry powers." More cultists emerged. Harper counted at least 20, all with that wrongness clinging to them like a second skin. "You can't take her," Elena said firmly. "The hunt laws, the hunt is over." The leader checked an expensive watch. "Midnight has passed. She's been claimed by her mate. All very official, which means..." His grin widened. "She's fair game." They attacked as one. Gabriel met the first wave head-on, his alpha power on full display. But these weren't normal wolves. They fought with unnatural strength, healing from wounds that should have dropped them. "Harper, run!" he roared. But Harper was done running from threats. 20 years of being powerless had ended tonight. She reached for the moon pool, instinct guiding her. The moment her hand touched the sacred water, power flooded through her. Not her power, her mother's, her grandmother's, all the Moonfire wolves who'd come before. "Show them why they fear us," the ancestors whispered. Harper rose, water clinging to her skin like liquid starlight. When she shifted, her wolf form blazed with inner light. Not the gentle luminescence from before. This was the cold fire of judgment. She moved through the cultists like a force of nature. Where her claws touched, their unnatural healing failed. Where her teeth found purchase, the corruption burned away. She wasn't just fighting. She was cleansing. "Impossible," the leader snarled, backing away. "You're newly awakened. You can't have this much control." "Watch me," Harper's mental voice echoed across the clearing. But the cultists had come prepared. The leader pulled out a silver net that reeked of dark magic. Before Harper could dodge, it tangled around her, burning even through her moonfire resistance. "Did you think we hadn't planned for this?" He laughed as Harper thrashed. 20 years we've waited. We know every moonfire trick." Gabriel roared, trying to reach her, but 3 cultists held him down. Elena's magic flared, but more nets appeared, trapping the witnesses. "Now then," the leader approached Harper with a ritual blade. "Just a little blood to start. The real harvest comes during the new moon, but a taste—" He screamed. Pip, tiny, insignificant Pip, had transformed. Where a mouse had been, something else stood, still small but blazing with fey power. His true form was all sharp angles and starlight, with wings like broken glass.
"Nobody," the moon sprite hissed, "touches my Harper."
He dove at the leader's face, tiny claws finding eyes. The cultist stumbled back, dropping the blade. The distraction was all Harper needed. She reached deep, past her wolf, past her moonfire heritage, to something older. The blessing her mother spoke of. The bridge between realms. "Open," she commanded. Reality split. For a heartbeat, 2 worlds overlapped. The mortal Everglades and something else. A realm of silver trees and eternal moonlight. Harper existed in both, and in that impossible moment she stepped sideways. The net fell through empty air. She rematerialized behind the leader, her jaws closing on his throat before he could react. Not to kill, to mark. Moonfire burned into his skin, a brand that would never heal. "Run!" she growled through the mental link. "Tell your masters the Moonfire heir has returned. Tell them I'm not prey, I'm the hunter now." The cultists fled, their leader clutching his burned throat. In seconds, the clearing emptied except for Harper's allies. That was. Gabriel pulled her against him as she shifted back. "What was that?" "I don't know." Harper trembled with exhaustion. "I just knew I could do it." "Realm walking," Elena breathed. "Your mother could do it near the end. Step between worlds for a heartbeat. It's what the Devourers want most, the ability to enter other realms and feed." "They'll be back," one of the witnesses said, "with greater numbers. Let them come." Gabriel's arms tightened around Harper. "They want to face the Northern Pack Alpha and his mate? They'll learn why we've held this territory for 2 centuries. 3 days, Harper murmured, remembering her mother's warning. "The new moon is in 3 days. Then we have 3 days to prepare." Gabriel pressed his lips to her temple. 3 days to turn you from newly awakened to fully trained. 3 days to rally our allies. 3 days to plan a wedding, Elena added with a sly smile. "Unless you want to face this threat unbonded." Harper's cheeks burned. "We just met." "Your wolves have known each other forever," Elena corrected. "And a mated pair is stronger than 2 individuals. The cultists know this. It's why they attacked tonight, before you could formalize the bond." Gabriel turned Harper in his arms, cupping her face. "I know it's fast. I know we should have time to court properly, but—" "Yes," Harper interrupted. His eyes widened. "Yes? I've waited 20 years to be free. To be myself. To find you." She pressed her forehead to his. "I don't want to waste another day." Around them, the witnesses howled approval. Even Pip, back in mouse form and slightly singed, did a victory dance. Tomorrow then, Gabriel decided. We'll mate tomorrow, bind ourselves properly, let the devourers come. They'll find out what happens when they threaten the alpha pair of the Northern Territory. Harper smiled, feeling her mother's pendant pulse with warmth. Somewhere in the silver realm she'd glimpsed, she felt approval. The Moonfire line would continue. The balance would be maintained. But first, she had a mate to claim properly. "Race you back?" she suggested, already shifting. Gabriel's laugh followed her into the night as two wolves, Shadow and Moonlight, raced toward their future. Behind them, the moon pool reflected stars that spelled out a single word in the old language, beginning. Chapter 8. Dawn came too soon, painting Miami's skyline in shades of rose and gold. Harper stood on the balcony of Gabriel's penthouse, wearing one of his shirts and nothing else, watching the city wake below. Every nerve in her body still hummed from the night's run. "Can't sleep?" Gabriel's arms wrapped around her from behind, his chest warm against her back. "Everything's different," Harper murmured. "Yesterday I was a servant who couldn't shift properly. Today I'm—" She gestured helplessly at herself. "Mine." His lips found the mark he'd left on her neck during their claiming. Not the full mate bond, not yet, but enough to stake his interest. "Today, you're mine." Possessive much? But she leaned into him, craving the contact. "When it comes to you?" "Absolutely." His hand splayed across her stomach. "The devourers aren't the only threat. Every unmated alpha in 3 states will have heard about last night. A Moonfire heir, unbound and of age. You're about to become the most sought-after female in the supernatural world." "Good thing I'm already taken then." Harper turned in his arms. "About the mating ceremony, Evelyn's handling everything." He smiled at her shocked expression. "What? You think my assistant doesn't have supernatural event planning in her skill set? She's probably already secured the grove, notified the council, and arranged catering." "Grove?" "The sacred grove. It's been in my family for generations. Neutral territory where important ceremonies are held. Matings, treaties, executions." "Romantic," Harper said dryly. "It will be." He kissed her softly. "I promise." Pip chose that moment to scramble onto the balcony railing, looking harried. "Good, you're up. We have problems." "When don't we?" Harper scooped him up. "What now?" "Victoria's been busy. She's filed formal charges with the council claiming you're mentally unstable and she's still your legal guardian." "What?" Gabriel's eyes flashed gold. "On what grounds?" 20 years of documented episodes where Harper showed signs of delusion and violence. Pip's whiskers twitched anxiously. "All fabricated, obviously, but she has medical records. Dr. Morrison's signature carries weight with the traditionalists." "She's trying to have me declared incompetent," Harper realized. "If the council agrees, any mating would be invalid." "Over my dead body." Gabriel was already reaching for his phone. "I'll have every lawyer in my pack." "Wait," Harper caught his hand. "This is my fight. I've been running or hiding for 20 years. It's time I faced her properly." "Harper, she killed my parents, Gabriel, stole my inheritance, bound my wolf." Harper's eyes went gold. "The council wants to see if I'm stable? Let them. I'll show them exactly what a stable Moonfire heir looks like." An hour later, Harper stood before the Supernatural Council in the building's basement tribunal room. She'd refused Gabriel's offer of expensive clothes, choosing instead to wear her simple sundress and her mother's pendant. Let them see her as she was. Victoria sat at the plaintiff's table, looking every inch the concerned guardian in her designer suit. Dr. Morrison flanked her, along with 2 lawyers who smelled like ambition and sulfur. "This tribunal will come to order," the chief counselor announced. Harper recognized him. Councilman Rivers, one of the few truly neutral parties in PAC politics. "We're here to determine the mental fitness of Harper Lee, also known as Harper Rose, last heir of the Moonfire PAC." "Your Honor," Victoria's lawyer stood, We submit that Ms. Lee has shown clear signs of instability, delusions of grandeur, claims of hearing voices, violent episodes. I hear a moon sprite, Harper interrupted calmly. His name is Pip. He's sitting on Councilman Rivers' desk right now, invisible to most of you. Rivers' eyes widened slightly. He could see Pip, Harper realized. Interesting. You see? The lawyer pounced. She claims to see invisible creatures. May I shift? Harper asked Rivers directly. To prove my stability? Rivers nodded slowly. The floor is yours. Harper stood, centered herself, and let the change flow. But this time, she didn't just shift to her wolf. She went partially, holding the in-between state that most wolves couldn't maintain for more than seconds. She stood on legs that were both human and wolf, her body covered in that moonlight fur, her face an elegant blend of both forms. Most importantly, she spoke. Something that should have been impossible in partial shift. My name is Harper Rose, daughter of Amelia and Marcus Rose, last heir of the Moonfire pack. Her voice carried both human speech and wolf song. I am not insane. I am not delusional. I am evolved. Gasps echoed through the tribunal room. Even the council members looked shocked. For 20 years, Victoria Lee bound my true nature with blood magic and silver. Harper held up her wrists, showing the scars. She did this after murdering my parents for our pack lands. I have proof. She shifted fully human and pulled out her mother's journal, enhanced with Elena's testimony and magical verification of its authenticity. Every word true, verified by truth seers. Lies, Victoria stood. That journal could be... Shall we test it? Harper smiled coldly. Bring a truth seer. Question me under oath. Question her. Let's see who's really been lying for 20 years. Victoria went pale. That's not necessary. I think it is. Rivers leaned forward. In fact, I insist. Bailiff summoned truth seeker Magnus. What followed was the most satisfying hour of Harper's life. Under the truth seeker's power, Victoria's carefully constructed lies crumbled. Every crime, every deception, every piece of stolen land came to light. Enough, Rivers said, finally, disgust clear in his voice. Victoria Lee, you are stripped of all pack rights and privileges. Your assets are frozen pending investigation. You are banished from the Northern Territory, effectively immediately. You can't, Victoria shrieked. I made this pack. You are nothing, Harper said quietly. Just a bitter woman who couldn't stand that my mother had what you never would. True power, true love, true loyalty. So you took it. But here's the thing about stealing moonlight. It always fades in grasping hands. Security dragged Victoria out, her screams echoing through the halls. Dr. Morrison tried to follow but was detained for questioning. The tribunal room slowly emptied until only Harper, Gabriel, and Rivers remained. That was impressive, Rivers admitted. The partial shift, especially. I haven't seen that level of control in decades. I had 20 years of suppression to make up for, Harper said simply. Indeed, Rivers studied her. The council formally recognizes you as a free adult, heir to the Moonfire legacy, and mentally sound. More than sound. Exceptional. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. His expression grew grave. Victoria's removal creates a power vacuum. The lands she stole, the businesses she built on blood, they'll need managing. I know what they'll expect. Harper straightened. And I'll handle it after my mating ceremony. Rivers' lips twitched. Ah, yes. This afternoon I heard, rather quick. When you know, Gabriel said, speaking for the first time. His hand found Harper's. And we know. Then I wish you joy. Rivers stood. And strength. The devourers won't be your only challenge. Every power-hungry wolf in the territory will be watching, waiting for weakness. Let them watch, Harper said. They'll see what Moonfire wolves become when we're free to burn. They left the tribunal room to find the lobby packed with pack members who'd heard about the hearing. Some looked hostile, Victoria's allies and beneficiaries. but more looked hopeful. The servants especially, watching Harper with something like awe. "Luna," one whispered. "She'll be our Luna." The title settled around Harper's shoulders like a mantle. Luna, female alpha, leader. "Come on," Gabriel murmured. "Let's get you ready for our mating, unless you've changed your mind." "Never." Harper squeezed his hand. "Though I should probably find something to wear besides this sundress." "Evelyn's already handled it," he assured her. "She's at the penthouse with a selection. Fair warning, she's gone a bit overboard." A bit was an understatement. Harper walked into the penthouse to find it transformed into a bridal suite. Racks of dresses, tables of jewelry, and an entire team of stylists waited. "Don't look at me like that," Evelyn said briskly. "You're mating the alpha of the Northern Territory and claiming your birthright as Moonfire heir. This requires more than a sundress." "I don't need—" "Yes, you do." Evelyn's expression softened. "Harper, you've spent 20 years being forced into servant gray. Let us celebrate you properly, please." Harper's throat tightened. "I don't know how to be celebrated." "Then learn." Meredith, the accountant from the hunt, stepped forward shyly. "We all want to help. You gave me courage to run last night. Let us give something back." Looking around, Harper saw familiar faces, women from the hunt, servants from the pack house, even some of the younger daughters from established families, all here to help her prepare. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." What followed was a whirlwind of preparation. Harper found herself pampered, primped, and polished within an inch of her life. But it wasn't like Victoria's cold control. This was warm, communal, joyful. The dress they finally chose was perfection, flowing white silk that seemed to capture moonlight, with silver embroidery that matched her fur's markings. Her mother's pendant nested perfectly against the neckline. Her hair was left loose, crowned with a circlet of silver leaves. "You look like a queen," Pip announced from his perch on the vanity. A scary, beautiful, magical queen. "I look like my mother," Harper said softly, seeing Amelia in her reflection. "Then she was a lucky woman," Evelyn said. "Now come, your alpha is waiting." The sacred grove sat on the edge of the territory, where civilization met wilderness. Ancient oaks formed a natural cathedral, their branches so thick they blocked out the afternoon sun. But gaps in the canopy let in streams of light, creating a dappled, enchanted effect. Gabriel waited at the grove's heart, dressed in ceremonial leathers that made him look like an ancient warrior. His eyes went wide when he saw her, and the expression on his face made every moment of primping worth it. "Hi," Harper said, suddenly shy. "Hi yourself." He held out his hand. "Ready to do this?" "I've been ready my whole life." The ceremony itself was simple, ancient words in the old tongue, promises of protection and partnership, the sharing of blood to seal the bond. But when Gabriel bit her neck, marking her as his mate, and Harper reciprocated, something unexpected happened. Light exploded between them, not metaphorical, actual visible light that sent witnesses stumbling back. Harper felt their souls merge, their wolves twining together in a bond deeper than normal mating. "What's happening?" Gabriel's voice in her mind, new and intimate. "I think," Harper gasped as power flooded through their connection. "I think we're sharing. Your alpha strength and my moonfire gifts, they're combining." When the light faded, they stood changed. Gabriel's eyes held silver flecks now, and Harper could feel the alpha mantle settling over her shoulders alongside her moonfire heritage. "Blessed union," Elena breathed from the witnesses. "I've only read about such things. When true mates join, sometimes their gifts merge, creating something new. Creating something powerful," a cold voice added. Harper spun to find the grove surrounded. Devourer cultists emerged from the shadows, more than before. Their leader, the one she'd marked, stood at their head, his throat still bearing her burn. "Did you think we'd wait for the new moon?" he sneered. "When you've so conveniently gathered all your allies in one place? When you're drunk on new mating? Did you think we wouldn't prepare for crashers?" Gabriel's smile was all teeth. At his signal, their real allies emerged. Not just the wedding guests, but the entire pack's warrior contingent. They'd been waiting, hidden, expecting this. "You want to threaten my mate on our wedding day?" Gabriel pulled Harper against him. "Let me show you what happens to those who dare." But Harper had a better idea. The merger of their gifts had shown her something, a new possibility. "Together?" she asked through their bond. "Always," he replied. They shifted as one, but what emerged weren't two separate wolves. For a heartbeat, impossible but real, they became something else. A single massive creature of shadow and moonlight, with Gabriel's strength and Harper's magic united. The devourers screamed and fled. Even their own allies stepped back in awe. The merge lasted only seconds before they separated, but the message was clear. The alpha pair of the Northern Territory were something unprecedented. "Holy moon," someone whispered. "What are they?" "They're ours," Rivers said firmly, having arrived for the ceremony. "They're our future." As the sun set and the wedding feast began, Harper stood in the circle of Gabriel's arms, surrounded by pack and promise. The devourers would return. She knew that. The new moon would bring challenges. But for tonight, she was mated, free, and home. "No regrets?" Gabriel murmured against her hair. "Only one," Harper admitted. "What's that?" She grinned up at him. "I should have spilled coffee on you sooner." His laughter echoed through the sacred grove, and somewhere in the gathering darkness, Harper felt her parents' approval on the wind. The moonfire air had risen. Chapter 9. The mating bond hit Harper like lightning every time Gabriel touched her. 3 days had passed since their ceremony, and she still wasn't used to feeling him in her mind, her soul. Currently, he was in his study dealing with pack business while she sorted through the mountain of property deeds Victoria's arrest had released. "This can't be right," Harper muttered, cross-referencing old surveys with current holdings. According to these records, the Moonfire territory extended all the way to... Pain lanced through her skull. Not her pain, Gabriel's. Harper was running before she consciously decided to move. She burst into his study to find him gripping his desk, eyes rolled back, body convulsing. "Gabriel!" She caught him as he collapsed, his weight driving them both to the floor. "What's happening?" Through their bond, she felt it. Something foreign invading his mind. Not thoughts, but presence, clawing through his memories like a rabid animal. "Get out!" he growled through gritted teeth. "I'm not leaving you, not you." His hand found hers, squeezing hard enough to bruise. "In my head." Harper's wolf snarled. Someone was attacking her mate through psychic means. She didn't think, just acted, plunging into their bond and following it back to Gabriel's mind. The mental landscape was chaos. Gabriel's usually organized thoughts were scattered like a hurricane had hit, and there, at the center, fed something that made Harper's spiritual stomach turn. It looked like Gabriel, but wrong. A shadow version wearing his face, but with eyes like bloody coins. "Ah," the thing said, noticing her. "The Moonfire bride. How convenient. 2 for the price of 1. "Get out of my mate," Harper snarled. "Make me!" The shadow Gabriel lunged. Harper met it head on, her mental form shifting to her wolf. They collided in a tangle of psychic teeth and claws, ripping through Gabriel's memories. She saw flashes as they fought, Gabriel as a child learning to shift. His first challenge, his father's death, the loneliness of being alpha. The moment he'd scented her in that boardroom. "Stop," she commanded, not at the shadow, but at herself. Fighting here was tearing Gabriel apart. "Wise little moon," the shadow mocked. "But wisdom won't save him. He's been marked for collection. The devourers always claim their due. Marked." Harper's eyes snapped open in the physical world. She kept one hand on Gabriel while frantically checking his body. There, on his left shoulder blade, almost invisible unless you knew to look. A symbol that hurt to perceive, like reality rejected its existence. "When?" she whispered. Then louder, through the bond, "When was he marked?" The shadow laughed. "Years ago. We've been waiting, letting him ripen." An alpha's soul is worth so much more than a child's. But now that he's mated to you, delicious. Harper wanted to scream. Instead, she did something else. "Pip," she called. The moon sprite materialized instantly. "What's wrong with— Oh no, no. You can see it? Soul mark." Pip's tiny face was grave. "Devourer work. They've been playing a long game. How do I break it?" "You can't." Pip scampered up to Gabriel's shoulder, examining the mark. Once placed, only the demon who cast it can remove it. Or you replace it with something stronger. Harper's mind raced. In the mental realm, she was losing ground. The shadow Gabriel was too strong, fed by years of secret feeding. Soon it would consume the original entirely. "The totem," she breathed. Mom mentioned totems in her journal. Spiritual anchors that can override other claims. Yes. Pip bounced excitedly. But Harper, creating a totem requires— I know what it requires. She did. The knowledge rose from her Moonfire heritage like it had always been there. A totem was more than a symbol. It was a piece of soul given freely, strong enough to anchor someone through any spiritual storm, including possession. Harper pressed her forehead to Gabriel's, breathing deep. In the mental realm, she stopped fighting and started something else. "What are you doing?" the shadow hissed. Harper didn't answer. She reached deep into herself, past her wolf, past her magic, to the core of what made her her. The stubborn girl who'd survived 20 years of servitude. The woman who'd chosen hope over bitterness. The mate who would burn the world to protect what was hers. She pulled a piece of that core free. The pain was indescribable, like tearing off a limb if limbs were made of starlight and memory. But Harper didn't stop. She shaped that piece of herself into something new. A silver wolf, tiny but perfect, glowing with inner fire. "A totem," the shadow breathed. "You can't. The cost is mine to pay." Harper pressed the totem into Gabriel's mental chest, right over his heart. It sank in like water into dry earth, and suddenly, light. Blinding, purifying light that sent the shadow screaming into dissolution. Gabriel's mindscape reformed around them, but now Harper's silver wolf ran through it, a permanent guardian against invasion. She opened her eyes to find Gabriel staring at her, fully conscious and horror-struck. "What did you do?" His hand went to his chest, feeling the new presence there. "Harper, what did you do?" "Saved you." She tried to sit up, couldn't. The world spun sickeningly. "Gave you a totem. Now no one can claim your soul without going through that first." "You gave me part of your soul." His voice cracked. "I can feel it." "Harper, the cost? Worth it." She managed a smile before the darkness claimed her. She woke to arguing. Reckless beyond belief, Elena's voice. A totem bond at her age, with her power barely settled. "She saved my life." Gabriel sounding wrecked. "I was marked by devourers. Have been for years, apparently. Which is why we have protocols. Ritual circles, safety measures." Elena's frustration was palpable. Not soul-tearing in the middle of a study. Harper groaned, drawing their attention. She was in their bed, Gabriel instantly at her side. "How do you feel?" He smoothed hair from her face. "Like I went 10 rounds with a meat grinder." She caught his hand. "But you're alive and unpossessed, so I'll take it." "You could have died." His eyes were haunted. "Elena says souls aren't meant to be divided. You've permanently weakened yourself." "No." Harper struggled to sit up. "Not weakened, changed. I can feel it, the piece I gave you. It's still mine, just residing elsewhere. Like I exist in 2 places now." "Which is precisely the problem," Elena said from the doorway. "You've created a soul bond deeper than mating. If one of you dies now, the other will follow within hours. If one is injured, the other feels it. And don't get me started on what this means for any future children." Children? Harper blinked. Elena threw up her hands. "Moonfire wolves who create totems pass that connection to their offspring. Any pups you have will be born with inherent psychic bonds. Do you have any idea how challenging it is to raise children who can feel each other's every emotion? We'll figure it out, Gabriel said firmly. What matters is Harper's recovery. What matters, a new voice corrected, is that you've disrupted our plans. They all turned to find the devourer leader standing on the bedroom balcony. Not physically. His form flickered like bad reception. A projection. Wards stop physical entry, he said conversationally, but not spiritual projection, especially when I have such a strong connection to the alpha. Had, Harper corrected, forcing herself out of bed despite Gabriel's protests. Past tense. Your mark is gone. Replaced, he agreed, with something far more interesting. Do you know what you've done, little moon? You've created a bridge. Your soul lives in him now, and through him. His form solidified slightly, reaching out. Gabriel snarled, moving to block Harper, but the devourer wasn't aiming for either of them. He was reaching for the space between them. No! Elena raised her staff, but too late. The devourer grasped something invisible and pulled. Both Harper and Gabriel screamed as their bond stretched like taffy. Not breaking, it couldn't break now, but distorting. Fascinating, the devourer murmured. A totem makes you unseverable but also vulnerable. Hurt the bond, hurt both souls. We'll have to remember that. He released them, and they collapsed against each other. 3 days, he reminded them pleasantly. The new moon comes, and with it our real assault. Thank you for the lesson, Moonfire heir. You've shown us exactly how to break you. His projection faded, leaving them gasping on the floor. We need help, Elena said grimly. This is beyond normal pack warfare. They're targeting souls now. Who? Gabriel asked, helping Harper back to bed. Who could possibly— I know someone, Harper interrupted quietly. In Mom's journal, she mentioned a specialist in soul magic. Someone who helped design protections for Moonfire territories. Who? Harper met his eyes. Your grandfather. Gabriel went still. My grandfather's been dead for 15 years. To the physical world, yes. Harper touched the totem scar over his heart. But soul specialists don't always stay gone. And if the devourers are playing with soul magic, we need someone who understands the game, Gabriel finished, even if that someone is technically deceased. You want to summon my dead grandfather to ask for help with soul magic, Gabriel said flatly. The same grandfather who told me bedtime stories about Moonfire wolves. The same grandfather who knew what you'd one day face, Harper corrected. Gabriel, the mark on you wasn't random. Someone in your family line made a deal. Someone traded your soul before you were born. Silence stretched between them. Father, Gabriel said finally. It would have been father. He was always desperate for power, for guarantees the pack would stay strong. Then we need to know what deal was made. Harper struggled up again. And for that, we need someone who was there. This is dangerous, Elena warned. Summoning the dead, especially dead alphas. They don't always come back right. Neither will we if the devourers succeed, Harper pointed out. I gave Gabriel a totem but made us both vulnerable in the process. We need information. Gabriel stared at her for a long moment, then nodded. What do you need? The summoning circle took hours to prepare. Elena directed while Harper drew symbols in salt and ash, her Moonfire heritage, providing instinctive knowledge. Gabriel contributed blood, just a few drops, but enough to call his bloodline. Remember, Elena warned as they lit the candles, the dead don't like being disturbed. He may be hostile. He may not even be sane. 15 years is a long time to be discorporate. He'll come, Gabriel said quietly. He never could resist a mystery. Harper began the chant, words in the old tongue that made reality shiver. The candles flared, casting dancing shadows. And in the center of the circle, something began to form. Not a body, a presence. Old, powerful, and decidedly irritated. Who dares? The voice echoed in their minds. Who calls Alexander Ashford from his rest? I do. Gabriel stepped forward. Hello, grandfather. The presence solidified slightly, showing the translucent form of an elderly man with Gabriel's eyes and Harper's kind of troublemaking smile. Gabriel? Surprise colored the tone. But you're mated to a Moonfire wolf. I'll be damned. It worked. What worked? Harper asked. Alexander's ghostly eyes fixed on her. The long game, child. The very long game. Tell me, has my son's foolish bargain come due? The devourers marked Gabriel, Harper confirmed. I broke it with a totem, but… You what? Alexander's form flared brighter. Child, do you have any idea? No, of course you don't. You're barely awakened. He turned to Gabriel. Your father sold your soul before you were born. Payment for power, for guarantee the pack would thrive. I found out too late to stop it. So, you did what? Gabriel's voice was deadly quiet. I made a counter-bargain. Alexander's smile was sharp. With the moon herself. I asked for a chance, just a chance, that when the devourers came to collect, there would be a Moonfire wolf of age, and unmated, who could intervene. Harper's breath caught. You arranged this, our meeting. I tilted the odds, Alexander corrected, made sure Gabriel would be in the right place at the right time to meet his true mate. The rest was up to you. And the totem? Elena asked. Did you foresee that? No. Alexander's expression grew troubled. That's unexpected, brilliant but dangerous. You've changed the game entirely. The devourers will have to adapt their strategy. To what? Harper demanded. Instead of claiming Gabriel's soul, they'll try to claim yours. Alexander met her eyes. Through the totem, they have access to you now. And a Moonfire soul? That's worth 100 alpha souls on their market. Harper felt Gabriel's rage through their bond, but she stayed calm. Then we stopped them. How? Alexander challenged. You're one barely trained wolf against a cult that's existed for centuries. I'm not one wolf, Harper said firmly. I'm mated to the alpha of the Northern Territory. I have allies. I have my mother's journal. And I have you. I'm dead, Alexander pointed out. For now. Harper smiled, and it was all teeth. But soul magic works both ways, doesn't it? If they can mark and claim, we can anchor and restore. Alexander stared at her. Then he laughed, a sound like wind through graves. Oh, I like you, he said. You're absolutely mad. Very well, I'll help. But know this, the new moon isn't just when they'll attack. It's when the barriers between worlds are thinnest. They'll try to drag you into the shadow realm where soul laws are, flexible. Then we'll be ready, Gabriel said, taking Harper's hand. Whatever comes, we face it together. Together, Alexander mused. Yes, that's the key, isn't it? They expect to face a standard alpha pair, but you're something new, something unprecedented. His form began to fade. I'll gather what knowledge I can from this side. Be ready. When the new moon rises, everything changes. The circle went dark, candles extinguishing as one. In the silence that followed, Harper felt the weight of what was coming. 3 days to prepare for a soul war. 3 days to master powers she barely understood. 3 days to protect everything she'd just found. We'll win, Gabriel said quietly, reading her thoughts through their bond. How can you be sure? He turned her to face him, hands framing her face. Because I've waited my whole life for you. Because you gave me part of your soul to save me. Because we're not just mates. We're a fusion of bloodlines and power that hasn't existed in generations. And because, he kissed her softly, I refuse to lose you now that I've found you. Harper leaned into him, drawing strength from their connection. In her chest, she felt the echo of the totem she'd given him, her silver wolf standing guard over his heart. Together, she whispered. Always, he promised. Outside, clouds gathered, obscuring the stars. The new moon was coming. But for the first time in 20 years, Harper wasn't afraid of the dark. Chapter 10. The new moon rose invisible against Miami's light-polluted sky, but Harper felt its absence like a missing tooth. She stood in the sacred grove, surrounded by allies, Gabriel's pack warriors, Elena's coven of witches, even some Moonfire descendants who'd come out of hiding when word spread of her awakening. The trees themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting. "They're coming," Pip whispered from her shoulder, his tiny form trembling. "I can smell them. Death and hunger and, oh, moon preserve us." They brought him. "Him?" Gabriel asked, checking his weapons. They'd armed themselves with everything: silver, iron, ashwood stakes. But Harper suspected physical weapons would mean little in a soul war. "The Devourer King," Elena said grimly. "I'd hoped the rumors were false, but—" She gestured to the shadows gathering at the grove's edge. Only he could bring so many through the veil on a new moon. Harper touched the totem scar on Gabriel's chest through his shirt. Her silver wolf pulsed inside him, alert and ready. The past 3 days had been spent learning to use their new connection, sharing power, thoughts, even shifting in perfect synchronization. But would it be enough? Together, Gabriel reminded her through their bond. Whatever comes, together she agreed. The shadows solidified. Devourers stepped from between the trees, dozens of them, all wrong in different ways. Some had too many teeth, others moved with joints that bent backward, and at their center, Harper's wolf whimpered. The Devourer King stood 9 feet tall, his form constantly shifting like smoke-given substance. Where his face should be was a void that hurt to perceive, and when he spoke, it came from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Harper Rose," the voice scraped reality. "Last of the Moonfire line, you've caused us considerable trouble." "Good," Harper said, proud when her voice didn't shake. "I aim to cause more." Something like laughter rippled through the Devourers. "Bold. Your mother was bold too, before we fed on her." Rage flooded Harper's system. "You didn't. Not her body," the king clarified. "But her soul? When a wolf dies in terror and pain, their essence lingers. We've been snacking on Amelia Rose's remnants for 20 years. Harper would have lunged if Gabriel hadn't caught her. Through their bond, she felt his matching fury, but also his strategic mind working. "He's baiting you," Gabriel warned. "Don't give him what he wants." What if it's true? Harper's mental voice cracked. What if they've been torturing her spirit? Then we end them all and set her free. "Enough talk," the king said. "You have something that belongs to us. The Alpha's soul was bought and paid for. Return it." "No." Harper stepped forward. "I claimed him. My totem overrides your mark." "Your totem creates opportunity." The king raised one shadowy hand. "Soul magic is about connections, little moon. You connected yourself to him, which means—" The attack came from all directions at once. Not physical. The Devourers stood perfectly still. But Harper felt their assault on a spiritual level, hundreds of hungry mouths latching onto the bond between her and Gabriel. Pain exploded through their connection. Harper dropped to her knees, Gabriel beside her, as the Devourers began to feed. "Stop them!" Elena commanded. The grove erupted in battle. Witches threw spells that made reality ripple. Pack warriors shifted and charged, but for every Devourer that fell, 2 more stepped from the shadows. And through it all, the king kept pulling at Harper and Gabriel's bond, stretching it, tasting it. "Fascinating," he mused. "A totem freely given creates such pure energy. And you flavored it with Moonfire essence. Delicious." Harper tried to fight back, but how did you battle something attacking the connection between souls? Every defense she raised, they flowed around. Every strike she made passed through shadow. "The journal," her wolf whispered. Mother knew. Mother always knew. With trembling hands, Harper pulled out her mother's journal. She'd memorized every word, but now, under the new moon's darkness, new text appeared, hidden writing that only showed when things were darkest. "My darling daughter, if you're reading this, then they've found you. The Devourers always find Moonfire wolves. It's our burden and our purpose. We are the light that draws their darkness. But light isn't meant to fight shadow. It's meant to illuminate it. Illuminate, Harper breathed. Not fight. Illuminate. She looked up at the king, understanding flooding through her. You're not really here, are you? None of you are. You're shadows, projections. The real you is still in the shadow realm. The king paused. Clever little moon, but it matters not. We can feed from any realm. Can you? Harper struggled to her feet, pulling Gabriel with her. Or can you only feed on darkness, on fear and pain and shadow? She thought of her mother, of 20 years of suppression, of all the darkness she'd carried. Then she let it go. Light exploded from Harper, not the silver light of her wolf, but something deeper. Pure, golden, warm light that came from acceptance, from love, from choosing hope over bitterness. The devourers screamed. What are you doing? The king snarled, his form wavering. Something you can't eat, Harper said simply. Joy. She thought of Gabriel's first smile, of Pip's ridiculous jokes, of Elena's protective fury, of finding her pack, her people, her purpose. The light grew brighter. That's it, Alexander's ghost whispered from beyond. Light the darkness from within. Gabriel understood. Through their bond, he added his own light, the joy of finding his mate, the pride in his pack, the love that had grown from spilled coffee to soul-deep connection. Their combined light spread to their allies. Elena's coven began to glow. The pack warriors shone like stars. Even the trees themselves seemed to remember sunlight and warmth. Impossible, the king raged. We are eternal. We are hunger itself. You're parasites, Harper corrected, and parasites can't survive when there's nothing left to feed on. She reached deeper, finding the connection the king had made to their bond. But instead of fighting it, she reversed it. If he wanted to taste their connection so badly. Gabriel, she said aloud, remember our second vow? He smiled, understanding immediately. During their mating ceremony, they'd made 2 vows. The first was traditional, protection, partnership, loyalty. But the second had been their own addition, whispered between them. I vow to choose joy, even in darkness, to be light when shadows gather, to love so fiercely that fear has no foothold. They spoke it together now, voices harmonizing. And as they did, Harper pushed that vow through their bond and into the connection the king had made. Pure, concentrated love flooded into the devourer king's essence. His scream shattered windows in buildings miles away. Love was anathema to his nature. He existed on hunger, on emptiness, on taking. Being filled with genuine connection was like poison to his very existence. Stop, he commanded, but Harper wasn't done. You said you've been feeding on my mother's remnants, she said coldly. Time to give them back. She pulled, using the king's own connection against him. And from his writhing form came wisps of light, soul fragments he'd hoarded over the years. Not just her mother, but dozens of others, hundreds. No! The king's form began to collapse. You don't understand. Without us, the balance will be just fine, Elena interrupted. The shadow realm needs shepherds, not predators. And I think we've found better candidates. The soul fragments Harper had freed swirled around the grove, and she heard them, voices of the taken, finally free. Her mother's was clearest, my brave daughter. You've done what I couldn't. Set us free to move on. But some choose to stay, to take up the duty the devourers corrupted. The shadow realm needs guardians who understand both light and dark. Will you accept this burden? Harper looked at Gabriel, seeing her own answer in his eyes. We will, they said together, but we do it our way. The king gave one last shriek before imploding, taking his remaining devourers with him. The shadows retreated, leaving the grove bathed in starlight despite the new moon. But in the spaces between trees, Harper could see them, the new guardians, soul fragments who chose to protect rather than devour. Her mother stood at their head, whole and radiant. Thank you, Amelia mouthed before fading into her new duty. Harper collapsed against Gabriel, exhausted but victorious. Around them, their allies celebrated, but she only had eyes for her mate. We did it, she breathed. You did it, he corrected, kissing her temple. You found the answer. Love over fear, joy over darkness. I couldn't have without you. Without this. She touched their bond, feeling it stronger than ever. The totem she'd given him pulsed with contentment. So what now? Pip asked, emerging from Harper's hair where he'd hidden during the worst of the battle. The Devourers are gone. The Shadow Realm has new management, and you two are basically soul-bonded guardian gods. What's next? Harper laughed, surprising herself. Now we rebuild. The Moonfire lands, the pack structure, everything Victoria corrupted. We make it better. Together, Gabriel added. Together, she agreed. As dawn broke over Miami, painting the sky in shades of hope, Harper stood in the sacred grove, surrounded by chosen family, and felt something she hadn't in 20 years. Whole. The servant girl who couldn't shift was gone. In her place stood the Moonfire heir, Luna of the Northern Pack, guardian of the shadow borders, and mate to the strongest alpha in 3 states. But more than that, she was Harper Rose Ashford. And she was finally, truly, completely free. Come on, Gabriel said, tugging her hand. Let's go home. We have a territory to run, a legacy to rebuild, and about 1,000 thank you cards to write for wedding gifts. Romantic, Harper teased, but followed willingly. Behind them, the sacred grove settled into peaceful silence, and if sometimes shadows moved differently there, if sometimes travelers reported seeing ghostly guardians keeping the darkness at bay, well, some stories were meant to become legends. But Harper and Gabriel's story, that was just beginning. 6 months later. Harper stood on the balcony of the rebuilt Moonfire house, watching cubs play in the courtyard below. The territory that had been stolen and subdivided was whole again, purchased back piece by piece with Victoria's frozen assets and Gabriel's resources. Admiring our work? Gabriel wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. Our work? Harper laughed. I seem to recall doing most of the paperwork while you distracted me. Important alpha duties, he said solemnly. Keeping my Luna happy is paramount to pack stability. Through their bond, she felt his contentment, but also a thread of anticipation? What are you hiding? She turned in his arms, eyes narrowing. Can't a wolf surprise his mate? Not when we're literally soul-bonded. I can feel you vibrating with excitement. He grinned. Fine. Elena confirmed it this morning. Confirmed what? The cubs. Our cubs. His hand settled over her still, flat stomach. Twins, she thinks, due in spring. Harper's breath caught. They'd been trying, but with everything, rebuilding, establishing new pack structures, managing the shadow guardian duties, she hadn't dared hope so soon. Twins, she breathed. Moon, save us. Moon blessed us, Gabriel corrected, though Elena did mention something about Moonfire pregnancies being interesting. Interesting how? Apparently, our children will be born with inherent connections to both shadow and light, and possibly the ability to phase between realms, and definitely able to communicate telepathically from birth. Harper groaned. We're going to need so much help. Good thing we have a pack. Gabriel kissed her softly. A whole, healed, happy pack. It was true. The Northern Territory had never been stronger. With the Devourer threat gone, and Harper's Moonfire magic protecting their borders, they'd become a sanctuary for displaced wolves, abused omegas, and anyone seeking a fresh start. Even Meredith from the hunt had found her place, developing a gift for helping traumatized wolves reconnect with their animals. Sia had apologized, genuinely, and now worked in the pack's legal department. Dr. Morrison was serving a very long sentence. And Victoria had run so far even the council couldn't find her. Harper hoped she stayed gone. Harper, Pip called from inside. Elena's here. She brought the good cookies. Duty calls, Harper said, but didn't move from Gabriel's embrace. Let it call. He nuzzled her neck right over their mating mark. I have you right where I want you. Oh, and where's that? Home, he said simply. You're home. Harper smiled, feeling the truth of it down to her bones. The servant girl was gone. The broken wolf was healed. The lost princess had found her kingdom, and the moon's daughter, she was finally, brilliantly, eternally home. As she led Gabriel inside to greet Elena and plan for cubs that would undoubtedly turn their world upside down, Harper sent a quiet thank you to the moon, to her mother's spirit, to all the pain that had led to this joy. "Run free," the wind seemed to whisper back. "Run free, little moon. You've earned it." And Harper Rose Ashford, last of the Moonfire line and first of something entirely new, intended to do exactly that. Chisai. And there you have it. Harper and Gabriel's complete story. From spilled coffee to soul buns, from servant to Luna, from broken wolf to moonfire air. If Harper's journey touched your heart, please hit that like button. It really does help more readers discover these stories. And if you want to know when the next audiobook drops, make sure you register for the exclusive stories using the link in the description. Let me know in the comments, what was your favorite moment? Team Pip, anyone? Did you catch all the Cinderella parallels? Should I record more shifter romances or try a different paranormal creature next? Thank you so much for listening, for all your support, and for being the best book-loving pack on YouTube. Until next time, keep reading, keep dreaming, and remember, sometimes the best happily ever afters come with claws.